and he should be shot, should be executed by firing.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting that his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired.
So it's just a bunch of nonsense. John, I'll let you start. You guys on the Democratic side of the legacy, you feel like all the time you did it with very fine people, and here they go again here in the closing days of this election.
Well, it's nothing new. And, you know, for people just their news from New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, which sadly tens of millions of people do, they really do think that what he tends to do is put Liz Cheney in for a firing squad. And if they really do think that,
Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen too,
yeah,
if we had to guess.
If they really believe that, well then whatever it takes to win this election is what needs to be done. You know, 2 assassination attempts, we need to have more wins, we need to not still. That's what the left, and importantly the left media, they are saying, looking straight at the camera and saying, Donald Trump just said, put Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad. And we all know what he was saying was, she's a neocon, and she's in charge. We go to war. When we go to war, tens of thousands of young women get killed, and she should go with them and see what it's like before she pushes the next war. That's what he said. That's what he meant. But to have these, you know, high-paid, high-profile reporters report to tens of millions of people that he said, put her in front of a firing squad is a very dangerous place.
Steve Butz, do you really think that he said put her in front of a firing squad? If you listen to the context of that soundbite, he's talking about the war hawks.
If you listen to context, I'm going to go with that. But look at all the stupid stuff that comes out of his mouth. It's easy to misinterpret because you take exactly what the guy says. It is he who ratchets up the rhetoric.
But shouldn't CNN and the teams that are supposed to be the arbiters of the truth sort of separate some of that stuff out?
Yeah, maybe they should. And that's, I guess, what we're doing right now. But I'm just saying, even when we're just saying that the left was not condemning the assassination attempts, which I think, Mark, that's where you were going there. I'm like, that's crazy talk. It was condemn these assassination attempts. To equate the two is just nonsense.
I mean, look, I don't think he was saying put her in front of a firing squad. I think it was a stupid conversation and a stupid way to say, John, if you had only said it the way you said it, that, you know, that what I find interesting is that there always has to be a lot of explaining for what comes out of his mouth. And that's
you
part
guys
of the problem.
lie about what he said.
Well,
But
the fact that he's like, you know, why not just say, oh, she's a war hawk. I'd like to see how she would feel if she were in the shoes of our men and women who have to deal with this. Like, if that's the point you're making, then say it. But he rambles like a loon, and then it starts to get now. Do I think that the hyperbole on this is ridiculous? Absolutely, I do. But I also think that he causes his own problems, and he loves it. He walks that line in order to do this. And you know what? The left is stupid enough to take the bait. They shouldn't take the bait because that's what he's doing. He is trying to ratchet it up, and it's dumb for liberals to like take the bait on his nonsense.
Well, this has been such a crazy week because it started with the MSG thing, and then we got to the middle part of the week and we got the garbage truck, which was brilliant retail politics. And now you have the Liz Cheney thing. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 days. We still have 3 days.
A lot of people have already voted. So I don't know.
They have. Who's voted in this room? I voted. Jane, have you?
No, I have waited in
line. John, have you?
No,
okay.
There's no line out.
So 2 of us have, and 2 of us have not. I voted a couple of days ago, mainly because, John, I knew we were going to be going so late on Tuesday. I didn't want to have my entire morning on Tuesday morning. Really, that was part of the logic that I used. It took me about 70 minutes at Grand Glaze a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Grand Glaze.
Right, a lot of people have already voted. But in the closing days here, let's kind of get to the broad feeling of this election. We'll talk about some of our local Missouri stuff in a little bit. Look, I feel this is just a gut check. My gut check is things are swinging pretty well for Trump right now in the swing states. Having said that, this race is going to be razor sharp. It's hard for me to believe, just knowing what I do about these states in past elections, looking at the polling. I'm no expert. John, you can challenge me. I don't think that he wins deep down. I don't think he ends up winning Wisconsin and Michigan. But I do think he wins Pennsylvania. And it may very well just come down, as we've been talking now for months, to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think he's winning. I think, and I have to say this as a Trump supporter, you know, he's run as good a race as he's going to run. And he's been on script as much as he's going to be on script. There's a lot of energy, positive feelings. he made a mistake in this interview with Liz Cheney. He's going to do 3 or 4 more interviews in the next half day. He's put together an amazing team. This analogy that's out there that he's Captain America, and then there's the 4 Avengers, and that's JD and Tulsi and Elon. Who's the 4th Avenger? I'm forgetting. But I think that there's a lot of positivity behind that campaign, and his closing messages. Look, she broke it. I'll fix it. I was there before. You'll be with me again. We'll be successful. And so, as a Trump supporter, I'm very happy with where the campaign is right here now, and going into this weekend. We'll see.
Well, you don't deny though that there's plenty of people on their side because mainly motivated by, I think, hate of Trump. They're pretty motivated too.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say people are highly motivated. That's why I think it's good to have even this debate right before the election. But I've thought for at least a month or more. Minds are made up. There might be a few thousand, might have been a few thousand Puerto Rico votes, might have changed in the past week, saying you could stub your toe going into the very end. I think right now it's all about appeal to your base and get your base out. I think whoever turns out their voters, I think they're going to have the upper hand. The Pennsylvania thing, I think you're right. It's not just Fetterman's comments, but a couple relatives I have there. I think back to maybe Kamala Harris picked the wrong running mate as vice president. Pennsylvania was a must win. I'm sure.
No, I know.
I'm sure it is. But I'm just going with
You
that.
mean on Shapiro?
Shapiro covered up.
Right.
There's a reason.
Yeah, it was a really
Okay.
So, but here's the thing. We heard this same rhetoric like in 22, the red wave. I see a lot of
That's why I've been
Republicans.
very careful,
I see a
Jane.
lot of Republicans, not you guys, but I see a lot of Republicans saying this is over. He's won. And
It's not over. No.
I just feel like the declaring of victory, it's either something they're trying to manufacture or they're in their bubble. And because I just don't think, and I work hard to try to see both sides. And I think this right now
No,
is
it's not. Absolutely. It is a coin toss. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. However, I think you'd kind of rather be Trump right now than Harris, looking at the numbers and looking at the way that they're trending. I don't think you can argue against that.
what I would say is look at women. And I'm just telling you, there's going to be more women voters than men, and that matters.
It does matter.
In the last 4 weeks, every week Trump has gotten stronger. Every week she's gotten weaker in the polls.
Based on what? Okay.
Well, popular vote. You're going into the general election first.
I don't think he's going to win a popular vote. Do you?
He doesn't have to.
He
Look,
doesn't have
but
to.
here's
I'm
the deal.
telling you, that's where.
But he leads in the national vote poll right now just by 0.5%. All right, let's say it's a dead heat. She needs to win by 2.5 or 3% to win this thing. Right, exactly.
Maybe. And so, but we heard about, like I said, we heard about this in 22, and I bought in, and I thought, we're going to have.
Wasn't on the ballot in 22, and
he's been on the ballot since the day he walked down those steps.
Vote for Trump in 22. Now I will say this: the House is in question now. Okay, the House has its own issues, its own problems. What happened in 22 is a problem with the House. Republicans will be lucky to take the House, even if Trump wins this election. Look, Trump's going to win either by a little or by a lot. He's going to lose. He loses by very little. And I'd rather be me than
Jane. I will say, and I've said this for 3 weeks now. My caveat in all of this is 2022 because I felt kind of revved up.
I think everybody
spiking the ball, red wave, things are going our way, and that we found out that was not the case. So. There is caution
and
here.
I think a lot of people, frankly, have just gone underground. I think the Trump people are louder, but I also think that, I think there's a quiet, force out there that says, not again. And I don't know. You could ask me one day and I would say, oh, yeah, it's going Republican. The next day I'm like, not.
I don't think it's a quiet voice. I think a lot of people want to say never again. But what I think, the one number that really popped to me this week, Harry Ant over on CNN, CNN's had to kind of admit some things here this week, but there's 28% of the people in this country that somehow feel, I'm baffled by this, that we're heading in the right direction. But that's actually a much larger number than typical in a presidential race. And when that number hovers around 28 or worse, the incumbent or the incumbent's party does not necessarily win. That's anecdotal, okay? But I'm pointing this out because of the economy and what people feel like on the economy. This is not, even when you look at some of the independent voters that are quoted by the New York Times, I outlined one of the things. Well, they say, look, the one thing that they don't agree with is she's not going to change anything. She's admitted it. She wants to stay with status quo with independent voters. That's not good enough for them when they can't pay their grocery bills.
I do think that's a solid point. And one of the worst answers of the campaign, I think, for the vice president was when you're asked, what would you change from the Biden administration? You say, I can't think of anything. That answer
But
just
she answered
wasn't.
that like
that
4 or
just
5
was
times.
not.
I mean, she
It was
gave that
just
answer
not
4
well
or 5
thought.
times.
And you wouldn't do that no matter who you are. No
No,
matter
you got-
if you're
you gotta
aligned
have
with
a
somebody or
couple, three
not.
things.
You have to. Everyone has
You do.
something they
campaigns-
want to do
she
differently.
campaigns for change.
Indicators. If it's all about the economy, I mean, I know we like to beat it because nobody wants to say things are getting better. Things have been regularly getting better. It would appear we've had the soft landing that seemed to be impossible. So we're getting there. Does it have to get better? It does. The trend is in the right
Well, yeah,
direction.
jobs numbers
The
that
trend
would
is in
argue
the right
against that
direction.
right now. You have interest rates that are falling, which indicates
Gas prices are low.
Gas prices are
relatively low.
plummeting.
No, look,
yeah.
it's the border, it's inflation, it's foreign policy. Okay, what was Trump's border? Closed. What was inflation? Non-existent. What was the foreign policy? No wars. Kamala's offering more of the same, same as cumulative inflation of 25%. We're at war all across the world. There are wars flaring up all across the world, and we're funding them. So we're real close to that. And we've allowed 10,000 people a day to cross our border, and they're in inner cities taking up all kinds of social service dollars. So I think that's what Trump has done a good job of framing. This is what you had with me. This is what you had with Biden. And she said she's Biden. That's how people will feel going to the polls.
Hang tight. We got one segment down here. It's a Reardon Roundtable for Friday, the final roundtable before the election. 2 more segments to go. John Lamping, Steve Butz, Jane Dueker. We're coming back with more.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
Well, I've been looking on the Cordell and Cordell domestic litigation firm traffic cameras. We've got volume on southbound 55 in the construction zone, right there at Rivas Barracks. And then things open up to the south of there because there's another work zone near Z, but it seems to be fine through there at this hour. No delays for drivers headed in to Illinois. We look good on the bridges downtown. Westbound 64, that's a slow go. Now, it's mainly moderate volume, but it does stretch from Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound a little slow at Big Bend. Westbound picking up again, Highway N in pockets out through 70. 70 is not bad out of downtown. Really, you see volume headed for 79 and at Highway A, and that's about it. We still look good on southbound 270, just some moderate volume at Ladue Road. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 322 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how. Learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Del's team live in St. Louis. 2 days only at the Hilton Frontenac, Saturday and Sunday, November 9th and 10th. Register now at DelHelpMeNow.com. That's DelHelpMeNow.com. Enter promo code 2024 for a special discount offer. DelHelpMeNow.com. Code 2024.
You love your city, but let's be honest, the commute, not so much. That's where the free Odyssey app can help. Download the app and follow your local news station so you can get the latest traffic reports or find if your train is on time before you walk out your door. Knowing all this gives you time to think about the essential things like, do I have time to get coffee? Download the free Odyssey app and search your local news station. That's AUDACY.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, St. Louis, are you in search of top-notch cybersecurity solutions? Look no further. ThrottleNet is here to help. Ransomware attacks are on the rise, putting businesses like yours at risk. Don't let cyber criminals jeopardize your hard-earned success. ThrottleNet provides comprehensive cybersecurity services tailored specifically to your unique needs. Our award-winning customer service provides 24/7 protection to keep your data safe and secure. Take charge of your digital security today. Protect your business, protect your future. ThrottleNet.com, your reliable partner in cybersecurity.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And this portion of the show at 324 sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Democracy 2024.
We're bringing you the latest results, real-time analysis, and thoughtful commentary. It's Mark Reardon. Join me and our panel of experts on Tuesday night, November 5th for 97.1 FM Talk's Election Night coverage.
Democracy 2024. Election Night.
One of the guys in the studio with me right now, former State Senator John Lamping, is going to be here on election night as well. And John's going to be nice enough to join me in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We'll talk a little politics. Jane, I know you retweeted this. I'm very excited. Erin Moriarty from 48 Hours and CBS is going to join us. Chris Schmitt, my friend Chris, who was shot in the head 3 years ago, the night before Thanksgiving. They're going to tell his story, and Leslie Reeves, who was killed up in Farmersville, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on KMOV, and Erin will join me with a preview of that in the 5 o'clock hour. We have Senator Schmitt checking in from a Trump rally this afternoon. Of course, all our fun stuff in the 4 o'clock hour, including Sue's News. So let's kind of get into some of the local races, et cetera. Jane, let me start with you. This is, for me, just having been around a lot of election cycles in Missouri, this is a little odd. When I was on KMOX in 2008, 3 weeks before the election, John McCain called me live on the air. And he did that because Missouri was a very competitive state. I believe we had a Democrat governor at the time, right?
Yes.
And maybe even a Democrat attorney general. So Missouri's changed quite a bit.
Except for Peter Kinder, who was the lieutenant governor who beat Sam Page.
So now it's almost, Steve, I know you were in California. I was in Texas last week, and every freaking ad was, Colin Allred, Ted Cruz. I see a lot of Lucas Kunce and Josh Hawley, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like these swing states right now, and it seems like that's not even going to be a close race. We know that, right?
Yeah, we're no longer bellwether, so the money's not here. I think, like you said, the Senate race is getting some money. I'm seeing more about even like state Senate. They're running ads. They're the propositions.
Well, we can talk about some of the Senate races because those are interesting, right?
The propositions are where all the money is in Missouri. I mean, we've gone from being a bellwether presidential state to being a consultant's dream for the amount of ballot proposals that voters. I mean, that's what's taking so
Jane,
long.
I'm so confused. I thought the Republicans fixed that with initiative petition reform in the last session.
No, they didn't get to that. Didn't get to that.
I think Kunce is going to outspend Holly. I think he's
that wouldn't be a surprise.
I
think so.
He's raised a lot of money, but it's a ton of money being spent on that race.
I'm really looking forward to see where that dust settles there. I mean, I think that.
Look, I think Hawley's probably going to underperform.
I think single digits would be interesting.
It could be.
I think this is just the last
so
time.
So you think less than 10 points?
I think could be, and I don't think the money would be there if it wasn't going to be that close. And also, I think this is the last time Josh runs statewide here.
I mean, I think I just think I think he'll underperform the rest of the.
Okay, Amendment 2, Amendment 3, they're going to pass or not? Amendment 2, of course, is the sports wagering. Amendment 3, the abortion issue.
I'm afraid Amendment 2 is going to go down. I think Amendment 3
I'm worried about Amendment 2 also, and I hope that it passes.
And 5.
Well, Amendment 5 is the Lake of the Ozarks Casino, right?
Yeah, and I thought people were like, look, I'm of the view, if they want it, fine. I don't care if that's what they want.
Well, I voted for it, but Steve, what do you feel on Amendment 2 and Amendment 3? The polling on Amendment 2 has not been that great, and I don't know if it is going to pass.
If you're just St. Louis centric or you like sports betting and you like sports in general, you think, well, it's going to pass with 80% of the vote. But it's tough to get a gambling bill passed, any gambling bill passed statewide in Missouri. That's one of the issues.
And the claims for education fall flat because a lot of us were here when all this happened with the lottery.
Why didn't they just say, my message would have been, every surrounding state is taking, taking our money.
Yes.
Why, if you don't have to gamble, if you don't want to gamble, don't.
Thank you, Jane. I think they were off on the messaging.
I think people, everything was about education, which means nothing was.
Yeah, it should have been.
They should have had a different message.
If you want to bet,
it was a lot of money.
Betting, let people do it. It's crazy. You have to drive across the river. A couple guys in our office do it a couple times a week.
I send money to Vegas every week.
Why shouldn't I spend this money in Missouri? I'm like, I can't tell you. I think we should have gotten it through the legislature. Didn't happen.
You think it will? If it fails, do you think you guys will be able to?
I do
think
it can get
under Mike Kehoe. I would think that it might actually. Donald Trump Jr. endorsed Amendment 2. By the way, they're running ads, so just keep that in mind. The David Gregory Fearless Joe Peerless race in Senate District. What is it? 15. Andrew Koenig's seat. That's the most competitive, perhaps locally. There's a lot of money that's being tossed into that. The Amendment 3 issue and abortion playing a role here. John, what's your take on that? How important is that? Because the Republicans have a supermajority. That's on the line here in this election.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by the race. It's very reminiscent of my race in that you had the dominant party. That district's like Republican +3 or +4. Mine was Democrat +9. The Democrats in my race had a very contentious primary, much like the Republicans did. My understanding is like the mayors in Chesterfield and out that way don't like David Gregory. They're actually endorsing Peerless. Peerless is a very competent, capable person. He worked for the Drury family as an attorney. He's raised over $1 million, and I think if he's out there pitching that I'm just capable and competent, and he's got to get some Republicans to vote for him, well, there's ways to find out. what kind of guy he is, and I think that there's a very good chance that he'll prevail. It's a really important seat, though. Mark Cox's show, I've been championing the idea that we need to win this seat, because here's what's going to happen. If Peerless wins this race, and then he'll be the incumbent in 4 years, it's almost impossible to beat a Democratic incumbent, though we'll try. And if he holds that seat for the rest of the 20s, when we redraw the maps in 2031, we will draw the Republican Party out of St. Louis City and County. When I took office, I was the 4th of 7 state senators in St. Louis City and County. If David Gregory wins, he will be the only state senator in St. Louis City and County. Republican.
Yep.
And if he loses, I think that'll be the end of the Republican Party as we know it in St. Louis City and St. Louis County.
Well, they've been able to paint him as an extremist on the abortion issue, and that's sort of where this race is all about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Republicans down there, but they're also not necessarily MAGA Republicans. So I do think that Peerless is making inroads with regard to sort of, I call them, there's the Mary Kay Republicans, and then there's the Mary I Republicans. Mary Institute versus Mary Kay Cosmetics. I think the Mary I Republicans are going to see something in Joe Peerless that they like. I mean, he worked at a big company. He's not going to be some left-wing, the
Jory family, the Jory company is a super conservative
absolutely,
Correct.
and they like him.
You know, the big thing, those of us involved in politics can tell you, the craziest thing in this race is David Gregory has not been campaigning hard, and Joe Peerless has been,
and he's got
pedal to the metal.
They did
for
not want
months.
to. I'm just going to tell you that we tried to get. I thought David would want to come on and talk about these issues. They didn't want to do it because they felt like anything he would say about the abortion issue would just come back and they'd use it to hurt him. So that seems like an odd strategy to not even be willing to come on a pretty friendly radio station to ask questions
there's a lot
about
of
the
Catholics.
race.
I mean, it's not crazy to be pro-life. I mean, we tend to think it is our party, but there's a lot of St. Louis Catholics who like Republicans, and are pro-life, and and there are Democrats who are pro-life.
None of all the people on the ballot on Tuesday in Missouri, the only ones that are out there campaigning against Amendment 3 actively are Bob Onder on this side of the state and House reps on the other side of the state. Mike Keogh said tacitly a few weeks ago, I don't think it's a good idea. He's not campaigning. Parsons is not campaigning against Amendment 3. None of these guys are campaigning against it.
It still may lose, which I'm shocked. I did not think it was going to happen.
There was very little money that went to the no vote. Quite a bit of money came into the state to vote.
Well, we're spent 5-1, but down in Florida where the threshold is 60%, you've got DeSantis campaigning all across the state against their version of Amendment 3. Where's Mike Parson other than I know where Mike is on Sunday afternoons. He's watching the Chiefs play, but he's nowhere on Amendment 3. And he's not even running for office.
But I will say this. I think the one message that the pro-Amendment 3 people did not properly address was the transgender thing. I think they have found a shiny object to get people to look at and say...
Absolutely.
And I don't agree with that interpretation, but...
nobody
addressed it.
Yep.
Nobody addressed it in the beginning and said, this is why this is baloney. And I feel like that message has been more effective than just the straight abortion message. And I think a lot of people are relying on that to say, I'm against this and wouldn't otherwise be.
Having said all of that, and we're all trying to be as smart about these things as we can possibly be, 2 days ago, the Federalist Society, Leo, pushed in $1 million on the no on 3. And decisions like that only get made for 2 reasons. One is it's close, and it could prevail. Or 2, and this is where I was talking about Josh's race, it's necessary to narrow it to keep somebody else from being in trouble.
From being harmed. Yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, I think for these ballot initiatives, if you're not 55, 56 going into Election Day, because you lose points on election, you just do. And so you need that cushion. And I'm not sure that 3 kept that momentum. I think
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I guess we've all assumed that it was going to pass, but it probably
could
both of these
pass,
things
but I don't
will be very
think it's
close.
going to be.
I always thought it would be close. I did.
Yeah,
you're
the only one.
Pro-life state. I did from the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought this message, and I think virtually everybody, just like the Trump who's going to vote which way in the presidential thing, I think people know how they're going to vote.
Yes.
On a pro-abortion, pro-life type bill. And we had an extreme bill 6 years ago, and when you didn't have exceptions for rape and incest and these serious health complications,
But
I said on
don't
the
you
floor
also
it was
feel
going to be a problem?
I feel like they're in people aren't going to put up signs for this, but they're going to go into that voting booth, and a lot of women are going to say yes on 3. I do think there's a lot of men that will not admit they're going to be.
Because there's no other option for them.
Right, but I think a lot of husbands will also vote yes on 3 because of that. They may not brag about it or boast about it.
Right. And no, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who are pro 3, me included, who think that it's not drafted very well. But this is the only option. And if it's left to the legislature, we're not getting anything. So the legislature could have taken care of this. Yeah, well, the you know what? The supermajority in Jefferson City could have taken care of this, and they didn't do it. And that is on them.
They could have done it on gambling, too.
They could have done it on initiative petition. They could have done it on all of this. And instead, we had people shutting down the legislature for the last 2 years.
Changing this petition for sure, but here's the challenge. The problem with this, and I heard Elon Musk address this, the people that are against abortion think it's murder.
Mm-hmm.
They think a mother is ending the life of their child in the womb at any stage.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I going to come off that? If I really believe it's murder, why would I come off an inch off of that?
Well, it's the same thing that people feel about the death penalty.
Because
they think
of
it's
the
murder.
political realities in the country. That's
the
why.
realities where you have women who are raped,
there's
children.
Morality and political realities.
I mean, you can be. That's the problem, though. I think the extremism is what gets everybody in trouble. The decision in Roe v. Wade. Say what you want, but it split the baby, and it worked for a lot of years because it acknowledged that there was a reality there that needed to be taken care of. And that being this idea that, okay, all abortion, no matter what, no matter who, when, where, how, it's never going to fly.
Roe v. Wade split 60 million babies.
Well, I mean, but how many women have died? How many women are going to die because they cannot get the health care they need? You can't get, if you have
1% of the babies that will die on Monday.
Well, I had a miscarriage, and I had to get a DNC, and under that law, I wouldn't have been able to, and it would have hurt my health. And there are a lot of women who feel that way.
I would get the woman that experienced that to do the commercial because I don't think it's true.
Well, I'm one. I wouldn't have gotten my DNC.
I'll tell you what they did. The Texas, the commercial that I saw, John, in Texas, that was.
But is it true?
It went too
far.
Well,
I don't know, but what I'll tell you is pretty effective. It's something that's
I would have
resonating.
bled out if I hadn't gotten another procedure.
It is true.
Well, there's women that have bled out in the state of Missouri.
I don't know, but I would have, and thankfully I had a doctor where that wasn't an issue.
Let's move on. John Lamping, Steve Butz, Jane Dueker. Anything else before I get to a break here? Anything else locally you guys are keeping an eye on?
Well,
whether it's a Senate race, a House race?
In the county, there's some ballot initiatives. This ballot is so long, and I know that's causing a lot of lines. But, county voters, don't forget, vote yes on Proposition C. There has to be a lawyer for the council because right now it's being weaponized and used.
But most people don't really... They're not going to understand that, Jane.
Well, look.
I voted for it, of course, because I know what it was, but I think a lot of people aren't going to really understand
Well, that's
that.
why I'm saying it, because, look, Congress has their own lawyer. They don't, the legislature, they have their own lawyer in Jefferson City. They don't, this idea that you have lawyers that get to sue their own clients. They sue the county council. You can't have that.
But wouldn't the instinct, don't people kind of default to a no vote if they don't really understand the issues?
Of course. That's why I'm saying
It's easier to vote no when you don't understand.
Right. So that's why I'm saying
in the city, we've got 4. I think it's a yes vote on all 4 of them. But you got to be deep in the weeds. And when you actually vote, it's way down in the ballot, too. So once you get past all the elected officials and then the judges to retain them. But I'm like, it's not an excuse to not vote. It's part of the deal.
Hang on. We got one more segment to go. It's the final Reardon Roundtable before Election Day. We're coming back with more in a moment.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
If you are westbound on 70 out of downtown, it looks fine. Really no delays until you get to 79 and then again at Highway A. Now, westbound 64, the volume there appears to be Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound, a little slow at Big Bend. And then westbound slowing between Highway N and the 70 split. Now, if you are southbound on 79, it's really heavy and slow right at 70. Southbound 270, just moderate volume at this hour, and that's mainly right directly at Olive, and a little slow at 44. At 44 westbound is pretty slow as you head toward Antire. Could be a stall out there, but as you go down the hill, it's a slow go. Southbound 55 slowing at Revis Barracks in the construction zone. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 339 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver to detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or online at Amazon.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-5165. 800-499-5165. 800-499-5165.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one, funded by Medicaid with no cost to you. Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 five-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
If you need someone you can trust for your eye care, go see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Kim St. Ange here. Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, Royer, and Barry are experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. 314-966-5000 or yourEyeDoc.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Pastor Wes Martin.
The church has a huge voice, and we should have a responsibility to speak into issues even when they're deemed political.
Weekdays from 5 to 9.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
On St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
All right, it's the final Reardon Roundtable before the election. We're tossing a bunch of issues around with Steve Butz, State Representative, former State Senator John Lapping, who's going to spend a bunch of time with me on election night, maybe even to the next. You better bring a sleeping bag on Tuesday
Lunch,
night,
dinner,
John. We may have some cots or something like that. Jane is here. She's going to hang out in the next hour as well. I think one of the most important things that happened this week, we're talking about, a comedian at Madison Square Garden. We're talking about Trump and a garbage can or a garbage truck. I think I put him in the garbage can the other day. I meant the garbage truck. Got Liz Cheney. But what Jeff Bezos wrote in the Washington Post needs to be discussed. It needs to be thoroughly vetted, discussed. We have to have a national debate about this. We won't, of course, we won't do that because no one in the regular media wants to admit how biased and how lack of principles they actually have. Journalism has turned to absolute crap. And the media, in fact, is the enemy of the people, and it's sad. And Jeff Bezos basically admitted that. Here's what he said. Lack of credibility isn't unique to the Post. Our brethren newspapers have the same issue, and it's a problem not only for the media, but for the nation. He's right about that. Many people are turning to off-the-cuff podcasts, inaccurate social media posts, and other unverified news sources, which can quickly spread misinformation and deepen divisions. The Washington Post and the New York Times win prizes, but increasingly we talk to only a certain elite. More and more we talk to ourselves. While I do not and will not push my personal interest, I will also not allow this paper to stay on autopilot and fade into irrelevance. That was a great message, and there were people all across the country that said, Jeff Bezos, F you, I'm canceling my subscription to your propaganda rag just because of a presidential endorsement. What Jeff Bezos wrote is so important because the media has fallen apart, Steve Butz. They lie about everything. They manipulate the stories. And by the way, the American people are onto it, and it's sad.
Maybe we look at the American press through rose-colored glasses. Maybe we do, since we're on a media platform right here. If you go back, I was in Philadelphia not too long ago, cool city to visit, and there were dozens and dozens of newspapers, self-published back in Ben Franklin's day, making up stories, throwing slander down. I think maybe we look back and say we used to have this press that was very down the middle, just reported the facts. I think it's always, everybody has their own perspective, their own prejudices they come with it. Do I think that the best way to do it is to listen to several news sources? I do. Some print media, which I still do, not just American even. So like I love The Economist, right? It's kind of UK centric. Couple different radio stations, three different cable stations. When you listen to all that together,
But most people don't do that. I mean, they don't have the time to do it.
Which is, hey, you know what? When I'll just bring up Franklin real quick, when he said, what sort of government have you given us, Mr. Franklin? A republic. If you can keep it, there's work. This is the 45th anniversary of Rocky Sickman. It was just in the Post today. And it was really interesting when he said...
Rocky was one of the hostages
during
the
Iran
Iran
he said, freedom is
situation.
Not free.
Yeah.
That's right.
When we get to the point that people say, I don't want to stand in line an hour and a half to vote, I'm like, here's dudes that died and lost their legs, so you could stand in line and
But
vote.
Steve, when I went to the University of Missouri, I graduated in 1986 from the esteemed journalism school. The news director at KOMU, where I worked as a reporter and I covered Harriet Wood's campaign for the United States Senate against Kit Bond, knew what my political stripes were, right? And we knew what the other kids' political stripes were. But they guided us through that in a way that was supposed to manage the stories that we were covering in a fair way, despite what my biases might have been. And I did not bring an agenda to that particular reporting that's existing now in mainstream journalism. Look, there are parts of stories. It's not just the stories that you cover. It's what you omit from your coverage. There was an excellent example, and I'd like to think that there's still this opportunity for the Washington Post and the New York Times. There was a great piece, and I would say this because I agree with the whole premise of it, that was done by the New York Times, sourced and researched for over a year on the DEI program at the University of Michigan. It was an outstanding story. It's a story that you were more likely to see in a Republican or conservative publication or on Fox News. But the reporter at the New York Times couldn't, move against the facts of what was happening at Michigan. It was great. But that's not what you see in most of the reporting. Whether it's very fine people or Liz Cheney or a comedian at Madison Square Garden, they manipulate, they lie, they omit, and they have no credibility.
And look, and I think it goes on both sides. I think there's right-wing stuff that's insane. I think there's left-wing stuff that's insane. That's the problem, is you're having people on both
Where's
sides
the right wing? What is the right wing media? What is the right wing media? What is it, Jane? Name
Fox.
Okay, so wait. Okay, I'm going to give you that one. Okay, can you name another?
Fox.
Oh, there we go. We got another. It's Fox. You got CBS, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, CNN. You got Vanity Fair. You have Rolling Stone. You have Vogue. You have everything. Everything. We got a few talk radio shows that are now relevant, and you got podcasters out there. That's all.
Okay,
which is a lot. It reaches millions.
You just proved the point when you said we. So now because...
See, I'm honest about it, Jane. I'm not trying to lie. People have known that I'm a conservative my entire
journalism with more agenda journalism. That's the point.
Just the country.
They're all wrong.
The country has one, from the right perspective, Fox, and we just listed 7 or 8 television stations. Every major
newspaper, every major newspaper.
National I mean, can you imagine that Melania Trump didn't get one cover as First Lady? And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The omission part.
Jane, let's just
I mean,
let's
I
just
see it here. When you had the Globe and you had the Post,
Well, we don't have. We
they
just have
checked
one
each
liberal
other.
Paper. Well,
I
no.
mean, here's the problem. Newspapers, they're not profitable. This is the problem. The model for delivering news is no longer profitable, meaning that you're not going to get. It's like you're trying to get a public service based on profitability. You're not going to that model is not going to work. And I don't know what we do about it. I don't claim to be an expert.
But you're going to stay in your silo because you want to sell. You want to sell to your customers.
Change could be upon us because I don't know if you saw this, but RFK talked about one of the first things that Trump is going to do is he's going to sign the executive order that no longer allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise. 75% of cable news revenues are from pharmaceutical companies.
And it is ridiculous.
So
I'm
if
just
you
going
take
to say
that
this.
away, that's what I'm saying. This stuff's going to come off the air.
Well, there's two countries in the whole world that allow that, but we allow it, and that's driving all of their revenue right now. It really is.
So if you pull that out, then you're going to be pulling a lot of quote.
Good.
Well, I mean,
good. Let them die. Let them die.
We're pulling
and
a lot
then
of
what?
propaganda.
Well, how can it be worse than this? I'm fine with the Washington Post, the St. Louis Post Dispatch.
Get better rather than have it all go away.
Let the Post Dispatch go away. What value do they have to this community? What value does the Post Dispatch have to this community outside of shilling for Tish and all the other progressives?
Wait, how about their breaking the SLDC story that was
good
excellent
journalism.
reporting
Once
in this
a while,
last
there
month?
is some good journalism.
Come
but,
on, you can't go there.
I mean,
yes, I can,
what they
Steve,
did on
because
SLPS and SLDC.
What they did on the trans story from Wash U. What was that? And look what happened with that.
I'm giving you two examples in the last couple months where they did really good investigative
you got a
reporting
couple.
stories.
I can name every freaking topic for the
There's
last.
not enough reporters who can do. You know what? Those year-long investigations, those are so necessary for the betterment of our society. I want somebody combing the budget, the state budget, and pulling out all the crap that doesn't need to be in there.
You won't have that. That's never going to happen anymore.
Right.
It will not happen.
But why is that?
We don't want to pay for that kind of news.
No. It's because people don't trust the media because they lie so much.
But if it
That's
were profitable,
why, Jane.
somebody would come in and fill the void, and they're not.
They are. Joe Rogan's filling the void. That's what's happening. Podcasters are filling the void because these newspapers and CNN, they screwed it up.
News. That is not research news.
That's fine.
Talk radio.
But it's news for a lot of people.
I'll take the unresearched news because you're lying about everything. So we're going to accept the unresearched stuff because you've lost all the credibility. That's what you guys don't get.
But you don't address unsourced nonsense with more unsourced nonsense. It's bad on both sides.
It is, but this is what we have because of the lack of credibility. Look, when Trump said this, I've said this so many times, when he said the media is the enemy of the people, I thought that was ridiculous. I rejected that. I think he's absolutely right. There is no doubt in my mind that the mainstream media is the enemy of the people, and it's been on display how many times here? This guy has been 2 assassination attempts, and you guys are out there calling him a Nazi, a fascist, and you expect people to tone down the freaking rhetoric? Are you kidding me?
And where are the articles on the people who tried to kill him? There's nothing. Look, Bezos has to be.
Where's the articles on Joe Biden slobbering over himself for the past 2 years in the White House, by the way? Anyone going to ever do that story? Or not?
Yes.
Or not? No, Steve, who's going to do it?
Do.
You think the Washington Post will do that? Are you kidding me?
I do.
They won't
not
even do it
a
at
chance.
Only if she loses.
They'll lose another 250,000 subscribers, Steve.
No, even if she wins or loses,
they won't
that's
do
a story.
No,
they will not do it.
If she loses, they're going to do it because they're going to blame. They're going to find somebody to blame. Look, Bezos is to be applauded. Bezos.
No, he said the right thing. I agree.
The press is protected in the Constitution for a reason. It's a really important part of the country. The press can be defined as newspapers, television, podcasts, whatever it's going to be. You know what Musk did with Twitter when 2020 happened and the administration was working hand in glove with Twitter to block and censor, most importantly, the Hunter Biden laptop. Musk stepped in. He bought Twitter. We bought it. It was completely uneconomical. $45 billion. Nobody thought it was worth $45 billion, but that's a guy that couldn't afford to lose billions of dollars at a time. And he offered a platform that is it's a fair and honest square in a corner in the market square. And Bezos can do that to print. More power to him. If Trump wins, it's the only scenario under which the pharmaceutical advertising dollars will go away, and that'll crush the television stations. Maybe they'll have somebody else step in that's willing to spend money to get them back to be fair and honest. Look, I grew up reading everything I could possibly read. I thought everything was pretty well balanced. I read the Times, I read the Journal, I read the Post, I read everything there was to read. And now it's like the fact that they're reporting today that Trump wants to stand Cheney up and kill her at a firing squad, and that's CNN.
Right. No, I get you. And I have called out. How many times have I, moaned about the Post-Dispatch, about the way they don't cover crime, the way they never ask the city, show us your data and, how are you counting crime? What do you do? I mean, I've been there. But try to find me a reporter that can spend the time to get every piece of crime data and actually do the job that the city won't do. And it's like, I mean, I feel sorry for some of these reporters because they're drinking water out of a fire hose as far as trying to get news out. They can't investigate anything.
Well, and I understand that, but they brought this on themselves. We're out of time. John, I'm going to see you on Tuesday night. I can't wait. I think Steve and Jane might pop in and just kind of contribute from the phone. Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be at Joe Peerless's watch party.
Okay. Jane, where are you going to be? Do you know yet?
Jefferson City.
All right. We'll have you both on. Thank you both for coming in here. Final roundtable before the election. John, you're going to hang out, and I appreciate that. Join me in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We got Sue's News coming up.
If you missed anything, podcast The Mark Reardon Show at 971talk.com. A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
There is an accident northbound 270 past Dorset. Watch for this in the right lane. I've been looking at it on the Cordell and Cordell domestic litigation firm traffic cameras. Right lane's blocked. Traffic is jammed near Page. And there is, now we've got an accident reported westbound 70 west of Mid Rivers. Watch for that in the right center lane. And a real jam on westbound 44 as you head toward Antire. And that is a delay that goes back past 141. And I can't see what it is, but it must be blocking a lane. So just know it's pretty bad on 44, approaching 141 on out. Southbound 55, slowing at Revis Barracks. We look fine if you're headed into Illinois on the bridges downtown. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 356 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Oh, looks like I got to talk about Susan L. Ward. I was ready to move on to the next hour, but I have to talk about Susan. She is a family practice attorney here in the St. Louis area. That means a divorce attorney. It's well beyond, though, just the end of a marriage. Could be, parenting plans, anything that will happen in the aftermath of the divorce, even getting, I was very naive on this. I thought that when my sons got to a certain age that the child support that was being withdrawn from my check would just stop automatically. It does not. The judge has to get involved. There needs to be an order, and Susan and her team can help you with all of those things, and they've been doing it here in St. Louis for 2+ decades with exceptional results. If you go to stlfamilylaw.com, you can find out everything about Susan and the firm, what exactly they do. There's a blog up there, too, which is very useful. Some topics that might be a little bit unusual for a family practice attorney, although they apply, like estate planning and the importance of not waiting for that. All of that online. Check out Susan L. Ward, 314-783-9400, stlfamilylaw.com. The focus on family law and the emphasis on you.
This new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk is online, and you can stream it on your phone anytime. Just download the Odyssey app, and 97.1 is one button away. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app.
We got Susan News coming up. Jane's going to hang out, and my friend Christian Toto pinch hitting for Paul Hall on movies. Cusumano with sports at 4:45. It's all still to come.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
4 days to go. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. And Vice President Kamala Harris is urging voters to imagine former President Trump back in the Oval Office.
Because he spends full time plotting revenge and retribution. Full time. The man is angry.
Contrasting what she calls Trump's enemies list with her to-do list.
And at the top of my list is bringing down your cost of living. And it will be my focus every single day as president.
She's holding multiple events in Wisconsin, where Trump has a rally later today after one that just began in Michigan.
This has been the thrill of a lifetime for me and for you and for everybody. And now we want to take that thrill and turn it into let's do business, right? Let's do business.
Nationwide, more than 67 million Americans have already voted.
Now in Wisconsin tonight, the campaign says the former president will focus on the economy. The latest Fox News polling shows Trump's lead on the issue is virtually erased. He's now leading Harris by only 2 percentage points. There's a new memo from Trump's chief pollster maintaining that the Real Clear Politics polling averages show Trump is in a significantly better position in the swing states than he was just 4 years ago. Tony Fabrizio says it's not to stoke overconfidence, but he's noting victory is within reach.
Fox's Rich Edson in Milwaukee. A deadly mass shooting in downtown Orlando overnight remains under investigation, with 2 people dead, 6 injured, and a teenager in custody.
It's unfortunate that the changes in the state concealed weapons laws have made it even easier for people to carry guns and bring guns downtown. Honestly, I am frustrated to have to stand in front of you all and again share the news that we have senselessly lost another life due to gun violence.
Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer issuing a local state of emergency to stop alcohol sales at midnight in the downtown entertainment area and impose a curfew. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust, right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The time change weekend coming up this weekend, setting our clocks back 1 hour before going to bed Saturday night. Lots of sunshine on this Friday afternoon. It's cool, 62, but it is November. Tonight, clear skies, 50s for evening plans, 43 for the low. Saturday, partly sunny, 66. Sunday is wet, periods of rain and some thunderstorms, 72 on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Chad Robinson with Your Money Now. Amazon's capital expenditures jumped by 81% in the third quarter. CEO Andy Jassy says Amazon plans to spend $75 billion for 2024 and expects an even higher number next year. Jassy telling shareholders the company expects to make money on the investments, which are primarily tied to artificial intelligence. On Wall Street, stocks were higher today with the Dow gaining 288, the S&P grew 23, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq gained 144. Wawa is recalling roughly 60,000 of its beverage tumblers due to a laceration hazard from the metal straw. Federal officials are saying customers can get a replacement or return the tumbler for a $15 Wawa gift card. While Wendy's narrowing its full-year sales outlook after quarterly same-store sales rose less than analysts expected despite its new value meal. That's Your Money Now.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025, if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at www.robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodity interests can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at www.robinhood.com/election.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how. Learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Del's team live in St. Louis. 2 days only at the Hilton Frontenac, Saturday and Sunday, November 9th and 10th. Register now at DelHelpMeNow.com. That's DelHelpMeNow.com. Enter promo code 2024 for a special discount offer. DelHelpMeNow.com. Code 2024.
Missouri's Amendment 3 is cleverly worded to convince you that it only allows abortions until fetal viability. But it has loopholes that allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Abortion proponents used to say safe, legal, and rare. But now they want abortion as common as the morning after pill. Plus, minor-age children will have access to sex change surgeries without parental consent. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John B. Royal Treasurer.
You know, the next couple of months are prime time for trimming and pruning your trees with Hanson's Tree Service. Insect and disease stress drops drastically with the weather change. Mark Cox here from my friends at Hanson's. Call them at 636-379-1830. It's a great time of year to add a fresh ring of mulch around your trees. You can order their products and have them delivered online at hansonstree.com or 636-379-1830, or go to any World Outdoor Emporium or Kirkwood Materials to pick up their products.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Onder Law, voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis. We know how to handle the insurance companies, and we'll make sure you're compensated for physical, emotional, and financial injuries. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law today for a free review. 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9 all zeros.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Ribicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Ribicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show.
Well, I had a different piece of bumper music picked out originally, but now had had to highlight something here. I found out after I sent the original listen. By the way, Michael Langston is producing for us this afternoon. Usually he's hanging with like really talented people like John Rooney and Ricky Horton in the Cardinals booth, and he's stuck with me today. But Michael's filling in for Ethan and pulled the music. But this is the 30th anniversary release date. Sue, I hope you're not doing this in Sue's news.
Not
I just
anymore.
stole it from you.
Just kidding.
It's the anniversary of Wildflowers, and that is such a great record. You know, it's interesting. Tom Petty never really, I think he won 1 Grammy from it in 96. It was released in 94. It wasn't nominated for Record of the Year, which is just ridiculous. And I think some of the reception at the time was relatively lukewarm. This is now heralded as certainly one of the best Petty records, and maybe one of the best records, period, because you got to remember some of the other things that came out of that, like this song here, You Don't Know How It Feels. And then just the title track in Wildflowers. And this is one of my favorites here, Honeybee. I use this as a great bump here. And I will say this, for those of you like me who are Tom Petty fans, I was very lucky enough to see him here in St. Louis at Enterprise just a couple of months before he passed away. There is a great documentary on the making of Wildflowers called Somewhere You Feel Free, The Making of Wildflowers. I believe it streams on Hulu, but it's also available on Tom Petty's website at tompetty.com, and I highly recommend it. There's another really good documentary about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers that's like 4 hours long, and I don't know where that one is streaming, but I watched that, and it is outstanding as well. Now, I am a big Tom Petty fan, so that's one of the reasons that I would recommend it. 30 years after the release of Wildflowers. All right, we have, I want to mention a couple things before we get into Sue's news. Christian Toto will be here, right, Fred? We had to do a little pinch hit for Paul Hall today. Christian's been with us many times before. He's out in Denver. He has a website that's called HollywoodInToto.com. He also does a podcast, but there's a new Tom Hanks movie. Have you seen the trailers for this where they kind of de-age him?
It looks good. Yeah, it looks a little weird, too.
It looks weird to me.
I haven't seen that. Let me look
remember they
that
did
up.
that in, what was the movie where they also de-aged people? The Scorsese.
They did in The Irishman.
The Irishman.
The Irishman.
Yeah.
That I thought was
even in
a little
Ant-Man, they
creepy.
de-aged Michael Douglas, and it looked really weird.
That one looked weird.
That was very weird.
Does this one look weird?
I think so. That's what I'm told.
A
Christian
little
will
bit. A little
Christian will
bit?
tell
Okay.
us. And then here, this is interesting. He asked the question, why is the new Clint Eastwood movie being buried by Warner Brothers? That's very curious. So we got Cusumano coming up. Jane, I haven't even asked you. We could talk about this with Frank. You and I were originally going to go to Tuscaloosa together, and I had to pull back on that with family priorities. I went to Houston to visit my son. Round about the second quarter of that game, I felt pretty good about that decision last week, Jane.
Yeah, I mean, we
unfortunately.
had great tailgating, which was awesome. And it was, and of course, we had seats where we didn't get shade until it was time to leave. And it was, 88 degrees. And so with the heat index, I mean, it was really warm.
But
I know.
your daughter goes there, and you've been to games in that stadium. I've never been. It's still on my bucket
still
list.
need to do it
I know.
because, Dixieland Delight happens, and you're like, wow. I mean, a night is actually even better. I mean, day games are fun, but night games are really interesting.
I heard that, and I think you might have even told me this, that there was pretty good representation from the Tiger faithful.
No, it was incredible, actually. So we tailgated, got out there bright and early. Ton of Mizzou people. I saw a bunch of my law school classmates. I saw people that I didn't even know were going to be down there, and they had a really good showing. I mean, and we sat above the Mizzou group. I was surprised by the number. So it was fun, and everybody got along. It was great, and I felt bad for Brady Cook. I mean, that you knew when that happened that it was not.
Michael, are you big Mizzou?
Oh, yeah. So I went there. I got my master's
Yeah, I
from
think
there.
I knew that, but I didn't know if you followed.
Truman School. I have season tickets for football.
So
nice.
what are your
2.
thoughts? Because as a terrible fan, I just turned the game off last weekend, and I just felt, because I'm a Mizzou fan and we know what happens, that this was going to be a failure of a season. It's hard to say it's a failure because there's still plenty left. But
Drew Pine is not. This isn't entirely on him because we're not
backup quarterback.
Yeah, we're not using the playbook to him. The playbook strengths are to Brady.
Yeah,
right.
And it felt like early on we were playing way too conservative because we do have these other teams that we're playing like Alabama, A&M, and we didn't feel like we wanted to crack open the whole playbook yet. Because then we don't want them to be able to look at the film and go, oh, well, on this kind of play, if we and our O-line
I felt sorry for Pine. That was. That was a disaster.
And our actual backup had Tommy John because he also plays baseball, Sam Horn.
That's right.
Yeah, Tommy
but
John,
Drew Pine,
so he's out.
He's the kid that went to Notre Dame, didn't he?
Yeah. At the same time, I mean, Sam Hartman also went to Notre Dame, and look how he's been playing lately. So it's just you got dealt a bad hand. You got a new O coordinator in. It's taken some time.
There's still plenty of season left.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. they're not going to lose this weekend. Oh, yeah, there's a bye.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, we normally do a little bit of music here, but we already heard about Tom Petty, and I really didn't have anything else. I swear I didn't.
Okay, good.
But on this day in history, I just find this stuff interesting. 224 years ago today, in 1800, our second president, John Adams, became the first president to move into the White House.
Wow.
Yep. And it was 224 years ago today. All right, we've got good news. If you are traveling for the holidays and your flight gets canceled, that new law that we talked about went into effect this week that requires airlines to issue actual refunds if you don't want another ticket.
And I heard that part
Hooray!
of the thinking for that is that if an airline is forced to actually do that, they'll try really hard not to cancel.
Yep, exactly. It's supposed to give them that motivation. Now, you can still do anyone you want. If you just want another ticket, that's fine. But if it screwed you up enough that you really just need to give up on the whole thing, they are supposed to give you your money back.
Well, and they'll work hard to get you an alternative, too.
Yeah. This is one of those things where I really wish, especially as a libertarian conservative, that the government did not need to get involved. But the airlines would not do the right thing.
No.
So the government, unfortunately, had to get involved.
They say that the airlines must give you a refund within 7 business days if you bought a ticket on a credit card, and within 20 days, now that's just calendar days, if you use another form of payment. I don't know. Are you writing a check and sending it in? Or I don't know what you're
What
doing.
if it's a business credit card? How does that play into it?
Credit card is credit card, I believe. So it should be okay. All right, and it's the first day of November, so we do 6 things, or some things, how about that, to look forward to in November. Don't forget, we fall back this weekend.
Yes. I know. See, that I'm all,
right?
I love getting the extra hour. I do.
Yes.
It's much easier on this end than it is on the spring end.
Well, we've been losing our light very rapidly here, leaving at 6 o'clock, and next week it'll be pitch black at 6.
It's over.
Yeah, it will. And we have to, but see, this was so much more difficult before we had cell phones that told us what time it was automatically all the time.
That's true.
And we had to go back and people would be late for church, but it doesn't really happen
That's
anymore,
right.
you know? Election day, of course, on Tuesday. Fred, have you pre-voted? Are you and
I
I
have
the only
not. I'm
ones
going to try and do it this
Jane,
weekend.
I'm going to try to do it this weekend or even Monday.
Hang on, wait, there's an
Michael, have
election
you?
on Tuesday?
Yeah,
What?
you've already voted.
I did. I voted Wednesday.
I make it a tradition. I vote on election day.
Yeah.
Michael, I have always said that, and I was going to take a stand again this year, but then I started thinking about it, and I didn't want to wait in like a 90-minute line, so I went on Wednesday, especially since I'm doing all the election coverage. And it went pretty well, but I get it. I've always been proud to go on election day and stand in the
so
line.
what I do is I bring a buddy of mine, and he normally wouldn't have voted otherwise, but the election place, the Heights, is right next to his house. So I just go park at his place
Well,
and we
hang on a
walk
second.
over there.
Hang on, that might or may not be a good. How's he voting? That's what we want to.
In sports, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship is November 10th. Boxing match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will stream on Netflix on November the 15th.
Forgot about that one.
Yes.
So wait a second here.
Wait a minute.
Jake Paul's an MMA guy.
No,
Is that right or
boxing,
not?
boxing.
He's a boxer too.
He's a boxer. So
Okay.
Jake Paul came from like YouTube and all that other dumb stuff.
Okay.
He's very stupid. But
Well, it's a good match
when
then.
he got into it, it's been boxing. He handpicks his fighters
Okay,
that he
all
fights
right.
against.
I'm not as
He
familiar with him.
handpicked Tyson. All right.
Well,
then.
no, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest movies hitting theaters this month include Gladiator 2 and Wicked
Oh,
on
I can't wait for
November the
Wicked.
22nd.
Steve's brother Norbert, 2-time Tony Award winner in the original cast of Wicked, was at the film 2 nights
He
ago.
is related to him.
Yeah, we
Yes.
should have asked
Steve's
Steve.
other brother Tim was my teacher in elementary school.
Really?
Yeah, the Butz family is a big
Oh, it's a
family
big
in St.
family.
Louis.
Yeah, but Norbert
They're
is
everywhere.
awesome, and I follow him on Instagram, and he was at the premiere
And he's
on
Bill
Wednesday
Belichick
night.
now.
Yeah, he's Bill
Oh, that
Belichick in
is
the Aaron
right.
Hernandez
Yeah.
story, right?
Aw. With that 20-year-old girlfriend. Maybe that's the end.
And he was my date for Springsteen on Broadway. Norbert was.
Oh, that's right. On TV, Yellowstone is back for part 2 of their 5th season. And the new comedy series St. Denis Medical premieres on NBC on the 12th. And Cobra Kai for the peoples that like
wow.
it. Part 2 of the 6th season hits Netflix on the 15th. Finally, the holidays, of course, Veterans Day on the 11th and Thanksgiving on the 28th.
It's
No.
late though. It's like the last week this year.
It is late.
You forgot deer hunting. This is the youth season for
we
deer
don't
hunting.
have
How
that.
about deer hunting season in a couple weeks? Firearms deer. I can't believe you didn't highlight that.
Yeah,
See, I really
that's-
can't. I'm
that's
shocked by that.
Since Jane is here, we have food. It is the National Sandwich Day. Now, National Sandwich Day is on Sunday. So a poll for it looked at the most popular sandwiches in America. All right. What would be the number one?
Okay, but
All
a burger is not considered a sandwich,
No.
right?
I'm going to start at number 8, and then we'll narrow it down, see if you people can guess.
I don't know if I can name 8 sandwiches right now.
You can. When you hear this, you go,
Okay.
yeah. Number 8, meatball subs.
Ooh, I like those.
19. I love a meatball
pretty
sub.
good.
Yeah.
Number 7, peanut butter and jelly. 21%.
7?
I would think that'd be higher.
That's big. That's big with the
Especially
NFL.
after the Smucker stuff with the NFL. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think. But
Crustables.
that's only
Or Uncrustables.
21% of people say, yeah, that's my favorite. Egg salad sandwiches, 21%.
Wait, okay, I'm throwing the challenge flag. There's no, and I like a good egg salad sandwich.
I do
That's
too.
more popular than peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Well, it's actually tied.
Okay.
But they put peanut butter and jelly a little below. Tuna sandwich, 24% of people say that's their favorite. Ham sandwich, wah, wah.
Again,
boring.
I like ham.
I
The war on ham.
Jane,
I'm
you
I'm
also
warring
like
on ham.
candy corn and
Yes, I do. And peeps.
peeps.
And
yes,
peeps.
so
Solid,
that you're
that's
well
solid.
established.
What about ham and peeps?
Ugh.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Number 3, a turkey sandwich that we all enjoy
Yes.
after
Yes, we like that.
Thanksgiving. Number 2, chicken sandwiches. This includes fried chicken. What has been left out? What is number 1, Mark Reardon?
Oh, I know.
I don't know, like a salami sandwich or
grilled
something like
cheese.
that. Grilled cheese.
Grilled
There it is.
cheese. Jane
I knew
Dueker.
it. I knew it.
Okay, now I can see grilled cheese being the top pick.
Absolutely.
Yes. 42% of people said that is their favorite. The average American eats 6 sandwiches a week. That is not me. Or
I
just
don't
over
eat
300
sandwiches a
year.
month, I don't think, believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, no.
They say it makes up around 30% of the average person's diet.
That's probably why the bread aisle is so full all the time. There's so
Maybe.
much bread.
46% said they could eat only sandwiches for the rest of their life, and
Trout
it
challenge
wouldn't
that
be a
one.
Now,
big deal.
hold on. Was this taken before or after Shane Gillis's set went viral about the grilled cheeses?
Yeah, who knows? And then, how do you cut your sandwich? Which makes it taste better? In
Triangle.
half
Triangle.
or triangle?
Triangle.
Diagonal.
I go
Duh.
back and forth, believe it or not. Some days I'll cut in half, and then
no,
sometimes,
if
like
it's
yesterday.
half, you're a dork.
Yesterday I had a little cheese and salami sandwich. I did the
I like
diagonal.
cheese and salami. Yum.
Yeah, cheese
I
and
love
salami.
salami.
Wow.
You know,
And-
before you get away, are
Yeah.
you still on sandwiches?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
right
Sorry,
ahead.
no, I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead. I hope when you're done.
Hall of
No,
Famer.
I'm
I
done.
have
Go
another
right.
food item.
Okay.
On Halloween, we had people over. Someone brought a soda that I thought of Jane when I tried it. It was the Coca-Cola Oreo.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Did
yeah.
you try
I
it,
bought
Jane?
sugar
no, but I
soda.
I bought and I forgot to bring them for us.
Uh-huh.
I have the Coca-Cola Oreos for us to taste.
Have you tried them yet?
Yes.
And? Well, we'll have to taste.
We'll have to do the
Jane,
taste test.
you're going to be very proud of me. You know what I brought my son in Houston last week?
Apple Jacks. Did he love them? Did he say it was
He
the
hasn't
end all
reported
be
back.
all?
The Apple Jacks
Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts are
just
literally the best pot. I mean, we called it. Fred and I
Yeah.
called it and said that's the number
I
one.
have to ask him because I left it for he and Natalie, and I haven't asked him if he tried it
Yeah,
yet, but they're
we need
delicious.
reviews.
In science news this week, the infinite monkey theorem has come out. It is the idea that on a long enough time scale, even a monkey hitting random keys could type the complete works of Shakespeare. Huh? That's an important study.
Okay.
But a study found the monkey wouldn't really have time, probably in their lifetime. Every star in the universe would burn out long before it could happen, but it could happen. And why we are spending money on these things, I have
Hence
no
the theorem.
idea.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Tom Hanks, and of course, he's got a movie coming out, therefore he is making all of the rounds.
And we're going to talk about it with Kristen coming up.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that probably on Monday. Finally, in Sue's News, we have today's random fact. Something you haven't thought about. Astronauts in space can't do laundry. So dirty clothes from the International Space Station get sent out into space to burn up in Earth's atmosphere.
Really?
And there you have it.
So it's basically disposable clothing if you're an astronaut?
They have nowhere to go shopping.
All right,
well, there you go.
Tom Petty, Wildflowers, 30 years ago today. Christian Toto talking movies and entertainment. Coming up next.
But you will be, honey. Yes, you do.
Follow Mark on Twitter at Mark Reardon KFTK and Instagram at Mark Talk. This is the Mark Reardon Show. A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
We've got an accident reported on the Illinois side. Now, this is eastbound 64, past 255, and it's kind of, they're not saying what lane is blocked, but it is as you approach 159. So if you are headed in that direction, there is a jam behind it that goes back past 158. Now, if you're headed into Illinois, things look fine on the bridges downtown. The Cordell and Cordell domestic litigation firm traffic cameras showing volume westbound 40 Hampton out through McCausland, a little bit at Boone's Crossing, and then Highway N out through 70. 70 westbound looks great out of downtown. There was an earlier accident past Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and then things open up, and 44 westbound is thinning out. Whatever it was that was blocking just really close to Antire has been cleared, but we still have heavy traffic between Bowles and 141. And there is an accident reported near 141 at Highway 30, and it appears to be southbound on 141 at 30. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 424 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Yeah, Cusumano, by the way, coming up at 4:45, and we think Eric Schmitt's going to check in from a Trump rally in Wisconsin right after 5 o'clock. It was not a bad day on Wall Street. I looked up at the screen. It looked like the Dow and the NASDAQ were both up. That has not been happening consistently, and there really are big implications for you in this election. If you go to retirementkey.com, that's the website for the official financial planner of this show, Thomas Helbig, and the team from the Retirement Advisory Group, you'll see a guide to election uncertainty. And there's tax effects that might happen. Other things that could potentially happen from legislation that could affect your retirement. They've kind of broken down the trends and the patterns from the past elections in the guide that's a free download if you go to the website. You can also make an appointment on that website and get with the team, go one-on-one, and meet them and see what they're all about. You can find out more by going to retirementkey.com or by calling 314-993-9494. Thomas has a different strategy, a different philosophy than some of the traditional brokers. So find out more on your own. Go to retirementkey.com today. That's retirementkey.com for Thomas Helbig in the Retirement Advisory Group.
Republican Adam Schnelting is a husband, father, and a soldier. As an Army combat engineer, Schnelting is trained to fight for us. He's trained to solve problems. As state representative, Adam fought to keep men out of our daughters' bathrooms and sports. He voted to cut our taxes and fully fund our schools. He led the charge in Missouri to secure our border and address the fentanyl crisis. He even earned the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Adam Schnelting for State Senate.
I'm Adam Schnelting, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Schnelting for Missouri, Mike Summer, Treasurer.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too. To help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose. Paid for by Bayer.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
97.1 and thousands of music options, plus millions of podcasts are all on the free Odyssey app. Download the app or tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 and it comes up automatically. 97.1 FM Talk.
Our friend Paul Hall from Common Guy Films is off today. We got a pinch hitter. Christian Toto is going to talk about this movie called Here.
Hey, Dad. Like you to meet Margaret.
Nice to meet you, Margaret.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Young.
Time sure does fly, doesn't it?
You know, Jane, you've probably seen the trailer for this. There's some de-aging that occurs digitally. We'll see if that works. Christian Toto from HollywoodandToto.com. How are you this afternoon?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I'm not hearing great things about this, Christian. Maybe I've even seen a couple of your tweets. What did you think?
You won't hear much great from me either. I will say, though, that the de-aging they do here, now, I don't think every critic is on board with me here, but I thought it looked amazing. It looks like a very young Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. So I think they get that part of the story pretty well. But otherwise, this is a mess. And here's the setup. You get to follow a family throughout the decades, and it could be about marriage, and it could be about death, and it could be a sickness and job woes and things like that, all the things that happen to all of us in life. But it's shot from a single perspective. You're literally looking at a living room set for the entire movie, and I think that's a bit of a spoiler alert, but I think you kind of should know that going into the film. It's a gimmick, and it's a terrible gimmick, and it's also a very cloying one. I think this is not a well-written film, so I have really good star power here with Hanks and Wright. Otherwise, there's not much to recommend it.
And it's theatrical this week, this theaters?
Yeah, it's from Robert Zemeckis. So he basically reteamed with the main players from Forrest Gump, which on paper sounds amazing. And Zemeckis has made some classic films, but this is a gimmick that just completely falls apart. I found it suffocating to watch.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Hey, tell me about, because I've not heard about Juror Number 2, and I know Fred said that you wanted to talk about this. Are there some strange things happening with this new Clint Eastwood movie with Warner Brothers?
Very strange, because it's opening this weekend, and you're not going to see it, and I'm not going to see it, and most people won't, because it's going to be opening in less than 50 screens across the country. Now, this is a Clint Eastwood-directed movie. That's always a big deal. He's 94. I mean, God bless him. He seems like he's in good health, but you certainly can't imagine him living another 20, 30 years. It's just the way life works. Every movie at this point could be his last project. And yet Warner Brothers, in their wisdom, said, we're going to barely release it. We're not going to have an Oscar campaign for it. We're going to devote very little publicity efforts toward this effort. There's just nothing out there. So it leads to a lot of questions. That mainly is why would you bury a film like this? The film has gotten good reviews from the few people who have seen it.
Good cast, too. Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, J.K. Simmons, Kiefer Sutherland's in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kiefer.
I mean, nothing makes sense. And then even The Telegraph, which I don't believe is a right-leaning outlet, said, is this about politics? Is Warner Brothers trying to punish Eastwood for being right of center? But, even that doesn't really hold up in that Eastwood's always been right of center, but certainly not aggressively so. And I don't think he said much of anything the last, oh my gosh, ever since he did that empty chair shtick at the RNC a few years back. So I don't know. It's just a very strange thing. But the bottom line is it looks like a solid movie. It's from a legitimate legend of the big screen. Why can't we see it?
That's weird.
That is weird. What else you got this weekend? Anything else to recommend or to not recommend, I guess?
Yeah, there's a new movie. It's not getting a lot of attention. It's called Lost on a Mountain in Maine. And I guess you could say it's like Snakes in a Plane, where the title pretty much says it all. A 12-year-old kid, this is actually based on a true story in 1939, who gets lost, he gets separated from his pack, and he has to survive somehow. And I thought it was a very well-constructed film. Two things of note. One is, being a father in the 1930s was different than being a dad today. I think dads back then were a little more stern, a little less overtly paternal. I mean, it's a different brand of parenting. And I think the connection between the child and his parent in the movie is fascinating. And I also think one of the things they did, which I think was experimental, but it works, is they have little snippets throughout the movie from the real life people who were involved in this rescue operation.
Oh,
and
I love that.
Was really, I thought that was. I didn't think it would pay off, but it really does. It reminds you that this is a real story. So listen, it's not a great film, but it's a good film. It's strong, good performances, and I just thought, for a movie that kind of comes out of nowhere, pretty good. And by the way, this is from Balboa Productions, and if the name sounds familiar, yeah, that's Stallone's outfit. So he knows an underdog story when he sees it.
Lost on a Mountain in Maine, is that a streaming or theatrical?
Theatrical.
Awesome. Is there, because I know you're on timetable, you have a couple of minutes left, is there anything right now that you'd say this is what people have to see, streaming or otherwise?
There's a new Netflix comedy series. I guess you could call it a rom-com. It's called Nobody Wants This, and it's about a rabbi who falls in love with what they say in the show is a shiksa, which is a non-Jewish person. It's, as Kristen Bell is playing that character with Adam Brody. I've only seen 3 episodes, but I found it wildly charming and very funny and sweet and smart. Looking forward
Jane,
to
you've
seeing
seen
more
it?
of it.
I've seen 2
Okay,
episodes.
Jane has seen it. She sees everything. My
I'm
colleague
nuts.
Jane is. I don't know how she has time to do this, but say the name of it again.
Adorable.
What is it?
Nobody Wants This.
Nobody Wants This. Okay.
It's adorable.
And I do like Kristen Bell. She got a little St. Louis. She was here until she was a little girl and then moved to Michigan. Christian, thank you so much for pinch hitting here this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I would love to talk some politics with you, so we might have to do that next week. We'll see what happens. Take
That's
care.
the week to do it.
All right, we'll see it. I always, Christian is the one that I joke about. There was, at one point in this country, there were exactly 3 conservative film critics: Christian, Toto, Michael Medved, and me. And that was it. And now I think there's only 2 because I'm not doing this anymore. But he's been doing it for a long time. He's also a member, as Paul Hall is, and I'm still kind of hanging on as a member of the Critics' Choice Association. But he's great out in Denver, so we appreciate his help here this afternoon. So a couple of things, because he had to do another segment with another radio station. We got Frank coming up. But Jane, let me talk about a couple of things here. I just finished Bad Monkey. And it took me a while because Becky and I were watching those together, so we were both out of time. I really enjoyed that. That's Vince Vaughn. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's a quirky,
and it grew on me.
Quirky little thriller. It does grow on you.
You need to get through 1 and 2 to really, because I wasn't sure, and like my husband was ready to give up on it, and I'm like, Vince Vaughn, I think this is going to be okay, and it ended up, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
What you said there is important, because we had sort of the same reaction. The first 2, it's easing into the story. The other thing about it is, so it's got a very unusual tone because it's a Vince Vaughn. You feel Vince Vaughn's comedy coming through it, but because
dark
it's,
comedy.
it's dark,
It's dark comedy, and we've not seen a lot of that lately.
True.
It's a genre that people are taking, drama very seriously. So there's no dark. It's what other dark comedy is there out there?
I think my point in that is, and I think you would like, and I think most people would, you have to get used to the tone because it's still kind of a murder mystery, and it's I don't want to tell people too much of the story.
There's violence.
He plays a guy by the name of Andrew Yancey, who's a Miami detective who's kind of on the sidelines because he does things that aren't necessarily protocol, if you will.
Right.
But this has got a really there's this actress by the name of Meredith Hagner. I don't even know what else she's been in. She plays Eve.
She's great.
She is fantastic. I mean, if she's not nominated for something, and then there's Michelle Monaghan, who's a little bit better known actress that plays a very unusual role here, kind of as Vince Vaughn's ex. The other thing, Jane, that I loved about this, and I had to kind of pay attention to the music in the background. The soundtrack of Bad Monkey is mostly
phenomenal.
But look, it's mostly Tom Petty songs covered by other artists. So to give you an example, I mentioned this because Nathaniel Rateliff is one of those artists, and he's from here. He was just at Chaffetz on Wednesday night. Nathaniel and his bass player, I know Joseph, are from Herman, Missouri. And I shot him a message because I'm watching the second to last episode and I'm hearing this song play in the background. I'm like, man, that is such a cool version of Don't Come Around Here No More, which we just featured from Wildflowers. You have Weezer doing Here Comes My Girl. Lissy, who I like, she's the one that sounds a lot like Stevie Nicks too. Into the Great Wide Open. So all these songs play underneath these scenes, and there's even The Losers by Fitz and the Tantrum. They're very non-traditional covers, but they work extremely well. I think they're playing on my phone right now.
I would get the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's great. You can find it.
Yeah.
You can find it on your streaming services. So I really like that. Now, I started the Aaron Hernandez thing 2 nights ago. I got through the first episode. I liked it quite a bit. And are you through this? It's not even complete yet.
It's not done yet. So they've been doing the. It's not. You can't binge it. So, but I'm caught up, and some people have I've seen some of the critics who've said, they didn't like it. I'm riveted by it. And, of course they have to mash things up, but I didn't remember all of the stuff.
I don't remember a lot of it.
I don't remember who this is.
Okay, so he was a big star, relatively big star. He was a college star. Went to
Florida and then went to the Patriots.
Right, went to the Patriots. His brother played football as well. His father was somewhat abusive, but a very stern father. And then he passes away. This is the point that I'm in, where Erin, they're doing flashbacks right now where he's still becoming a football player in college. But it was pretty effective in the first episode, so I'm looking forward to it.
And it's effective, too, because it also shows that, there's all kinds of factors that probably came together to make Erin end up in jail, in prison. And
he was a troubled guy. He was a troubled guy.
But it also shows that the football hits mattered. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was having problems with when getting hit in the head. I mean, they show
Repeatedly?
it, and they did find that he had CTE after he passed.
So Dave Klein, producer emeritus, just texted me, says, just wait until you get to the Bill Belichick dancing scene in his office.
Oh my!
no.
And that is Norbert Leo
First of all,
Butz,
okay.
Steve's
Oh,
brother.
yay.
Okay, this, I'm sorry, but I love it. And some people are like, oh, they didn't like. I guess they didn't like. Some people, complained about it. I think he does a great job. It's creepy. It's so
Really?
good, it's creepy.
Okay.
So just wait till Belichick comes.
Does he please tell me he's got a cutout collar shirt? I mean, how
They
authentic
didn't
are
focus
we?
on the homeless dressing. No, they didn't, because I always call it the homeless
That's
dressing.
so easy, though.
It's so
You don't
easy.
even have to have like a wardrobe department. You go get a sweatshirt, you cut off the sleeves, you're done.
He studied his mannerisms.
That's great.
Norbert did?
Yes.
Oh, well, he's a great actor.
Yes.
Okay. He's when Steve was talking about this a little bit before he hit the roundtable here this afternoon, he is a big part of this new Bob Dylan movie that's coming out here.
Oh,
He
really?
plays Dylan's mentor, which comes out
Well,
closer
he's
to Christmas.
got me now. I
Yeah.
love him.
Hang on, we'll talk sports with Cusumano coming up next. It's a Friday edition of the Mark Reardon Show. Eric Schmitt in the next hour. We're going to talk a little politics. Erin Moriarty from 48 Hours. Big story about my friend Chris Smith, who was shot in the head 3 years ago, the night before Thanksgiving. Tomorrow night, 48 Hours. Erin gives us a preview, plus an audio cut of the day.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
On the roads this afternoon, you know what? We do have some slow spots out there. If you are southbound on 55, for instance, it's a slow go at Revis Barracks. And again at Z, both of those are construction zones. But if you're headed on 70 out of downtown, it looks fine. There's some volume between 79 and K and a little bit at Wentzville, but that's the worst of it. 64, some volume. Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound is slowing 170 through Big Bend. And then a slow pocket or two past Lake St. Louis Boulevard on out. Southbound 270 looks fine. It's inexplicable. It looks fine as you head all the way down through 55. 44 is thinning out. We had an earlier problem, and that was near Antire, and it created a jam that is just now thinning out. And westbound Highway 30 has a slow pocket or two, but it's not that bad. Now, on the Illinois side, there was an accident, and this has caused a major delay. This is eastbound 64. Approaching 159, and we've got a jam that goes all the way back through 255. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas. This report is brought to you by GL International Realty. Planning to sell your home? Work with the very best. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will guarantee to sell your home at your price or she will buy it. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 441 at 97.1. St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ThrottleNet, and you've probably heard George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet on the show. He's a technology whiz, and George and his team can educate you and your business on the dangers lurking with technology. Here's a unique opportunity along those lines. Does your company have a lunch and learn or guest speakers? For a limited time, ThrottleNet is providing free lunch and learns to provide cybersecurity awareness training. One click can cause a ton of damage to your business. ThrottleNet is determined to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, they're the cybersecurity experts who can help. ThrottleNet is known for high customer satisfaction, averaging 99% happiness with over 35,000 surveys. They have an industry-leading response time of less than 2 minutes. And no clients of ThrottleNet have ever paid ransom as a result of a cyber attack. Contact ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971 and we can schedule your free company lunch. Don't miss out. Find out more today about ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971.
Attention Missouri Republicans. Donald Trump Jr. has endorsed Amendment 2. Don Jr. calls legalizing sports betting a no-brainer for Missouri. Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 will give Missouri fans the freedom to bet too, and that means our money will stay at home instead of going to other states. Legalizing sports betting will generate more than $100 million for Missouri schools without raising property taxes. That's why our Republican candidate for governor, Mike Kehoe, is joining Donald Trump Jr. in supporting Amendment 2. generating more money for Missouri schools without raising property taxes, giving Missouri fans the freedom to bet on games. Donald Trump Jr. has it right. Voting yes on Amendment 2 is a no-brainer for Missouri Republicans. Join Don Jr. in saying yes on 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-5165. 800-499-5165. 800-499-5165.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
4:45. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Monday, the future is on the line in Tuesday's election. Are Republicans doing enough to guard the vote? We'll talk to Hans von Spakovsky from Heritage at 6:20.
Weekdays from 5 to 9.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
On St. Louis's home for conservative talk. A little controversy for your afternoon. The Mark Reardon Show.
Well, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of controversy with Frank Cusumano talking sports, but he is here on this Friday afternoon. Frank, how are you as we head into the weekend?
Great to be with you, Mark. Doing well, sir. It's just a beautiful day out there.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I don't think Mizzou's going to lose this weekend, Frank. I know it's a...
I like their chances to stay undefeated this weekend, no doubt about it.
You know, Jane is with us in the studio, and she was in Tuscaloosa last weekend. I mean, where do you put... We'll start with the Tigers here, because still a lot of season to be played. They have a bye this weekend, Frank. That was kind of the joke there. But it's hard to know what's going to happen if Brady's not going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, and we got a little bit of good news this week. I've been texting with people very close to the Cook situation, and he did not have surgery. And I think there were reports, it's all over social media, he's out for the season, he's going to have surgery. But if he didn't have it, and then I did get one text from him, and he said that doing okay, working at it day to day. I think if he got like 12 days, to prepare for Oklahoma and this round-the-clock, treatment, and if it's not, if it didn't need surgery, I have a good feeling that this kid's going to be out there.
Wow.
Well,
it makes all the difference.
Yeah,
obviously.
well, I mean, it's just, unfortunately, things are kind of falling the way that we thought that they were going to fall. And, you're not completely eliminated for the college football championship. But at this point, isn't that weird? For all these years, we want to get to a big bowl game and just kind of play the week of Christmas or New Year's. Now that's not going to be good enough, right?
No, it's a 90% chance, even if they were to run the table and go 10-2, they wouldn't get in. But there's a lot of season left, and you never know what could happen with those teams on the bubble of making the playoffs. So it's not out of the picture. And as Brady told me last Sunday on TV, he goes, look, we got 4 games left. We got a chance to win 10 games at Mizzou. How many times has that happened?
Right.
So
that's true.
It is improvement.
The problem with that scenario is that would be incredible if they can go on a run and they close strong. I just don't see a whole lot of reason to believe that they're going to win even a majority of those games.
No, and certainly if Brady doesn't play and if Brady is sacrificed physically or compromised physically, I should say, they have no chance. Because, God bless the backup, and I don't want to get in the habit of criticizing college kids, but that's probably not going to work.
No, it's not going to work. Look, in L.A. today, they had a big World Series parade. We're happy for Tommy Edman. I'm not as happy for Jack because I don't like him personally, but that's just a me thing and maybe other fans in Cardinal Nation. I rather enjoyed the World Series, Frank. I really did.
Yeah, and a lot of America did because it was the highest television ratings in like 7 years. And you had, let's face it, the Yankees had 3 Hall of Famers in their lineup, and the Dodgers had 3 Hall of Famers in their lineup. So a lot of star power. Yeah. The only thing I didn't get was this, is afterwards Dave Roberts is talking, and he says, nobody picked us. No, Dave.
Oh, come on.
You can't play the underdog, okay?
Right.
You guys spent $1 billion. $1 billion on 2 Japanese players. You're not the long shot that came in, okay?
So where are we right now as we wrap up the baseball season? You head into the Hot Stove League. There have been some moves that have been made by some teams. The Cardinals made a few moves with some players yesterday. Basically, they're reducing payroll. That's kind of the mission right now, isn't it?
Yeah, they cut $30 million off the payroll by choosing to not exercise the option they had with Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, and Kean Middleton. And look, Lance was okay, Gibson was okay, but at 12 or 13 million, I think you can find a better option. Yeah. But I just want to say this, is that Cardinal fans better get ready, because I have never, in my 31 or 32 years of covering the Cardinals, ever entered the season thinking there's no chance. I mean, even 2 years ago when they finished 30 games under 500, we all thought we were optimistic. And even this year we had a kind of a good feel. Hey, they could win the division. There's just no chance. Look, maybe the division is so terrible that they could do okay in the division. No. But there's 5 or 6 teams better than them in the National League. And with the Cardinals about starting the fire sale, there's no chance.
But, I think the fan base is going to be okay with that if there's progress in a positive direction. I know it's hard to say if they're not going to, win the division. But look, we got to see some things for the future, and those aren't panning out right now. That doesn't give you much hope.
You're right. And if they maximize deals for, say, Ryan Helsley or Nolan Arenado or Sonny Gray or Wilson Contreras and restock the farm system, and then you hopefully get Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman back, there's hope. There's definitely hope. I just don't think next year, if they go ahead with this fire sale, there's going to be a chance.
Well, it just shows you the hole they were in, and now we're really seeing the effects of that.
But to Frank's point, this is what's so depressing, because I think, if we were really talking about, we were talking about this a year ago. Yes. We're like, okay, things are going to be better, and we're optimistic. We can still win the division. We can compete. I think realistically, people knew we weren't the caliber of the Braves or the Dodgers or some of these other teams, but we thought we were the caliber of the Brewers.
Right.
And we weren't even the caliber of the Brewers, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, and we thought we were, because we went out and signed, 35-year-old Kyle Gibson and 36-year-old Lance Lynn. We weren't building for the future. We thought, hey, maybe we can steal a division. Well, it didn't work out.
Hey, let's talk a little NFL here, because I love the fact that the Chiefs are 7-0. They got the Bucks at home this weekend. They're 8.5-point favorites. They're quietly just destroying the division when all these other teams that were supposed to be so spectacular, even the Houston Texans, that was a big stumble last night against the Jets.
Yeah, it looks like C.J. Stroud has regressed in his career after a magnificent rookie year. And the scariest thing about the Chiefs is this. They're undefeated, and Patrick Mahomes is really not playing great football.
Right.
I mean, you look at his statistics, they're so pedestrian, but just imagine when he becomes Patrick Mahomes again, how good this team's going to be.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of potential. Look, you build in, when you're 7-0, you're going to stumble. We could lose this weekend. You never know. It's the NFL. You see close games. But I still think they're going to be primed for a home field advantage into the playoffs. Frank, what's coming up on Sunday night?
Okay, we have a story of a Parkway South grad who is a national champion in jiu-jitsu, who also owns and runs one of the most prestigious security companies in the world. He protects everybody from Matt Damon to Madonna to Janet Jackson. It's a fascinating story about a local kid who's done really well.
I love it. All right, have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday afternoon.
Okay, guys, have a good one.
That's Frank Cusumano from KSDK. Jane, we'll let you go here for the weekend. You're going to join us a little bit on Tuesday night for the election coverage. You said, are you going? party are you going to? Are you going to Kehoe's party in Jeff City?
Well, yeah, I'll go up to.
Because you're one of us now, aren't you?
I know. But yeah, obviously he's our candidate for the cops, and we're very grateful that he got there, and we hope this is going to make things better for police officers, especially in the city.
So. Let me ask this question though, seriously, because obviously there's there's more bipartisan support, I think you'd say, from Mike Kehoe than a lot of candidates.
He's really one that can actually get support from a lot of different corners, and I hope it's funny because I was talking to John Lamping about this. I hope that the radical right does not prevent him from reaching across and getting a lot done, because this is a rare opportunity that we have somebody that has gotten support from both sides, and we got to sort of learn to do that again.
One of the things that we loved when you took on this challenge a couple years ago against Sam Page, and got started probably a little bit too late, didn't quite come together the way we had hoped. But look, you didn't need the job, right? And with Mike Kehoe, he doesn't really need this job.
Those are the kind of people you want.
Yes.
We got to put service back into public service. And there's a lot of selfish, narcissistic lunatics that run for office. And I know, shocking. But you know what I mean? Like, him and his family.
I cover them on a daily basis.
I mean, him and his family are doing this because they really believe in what they're doing, and they've invested in the state. And, I mean, I don't know. It gives me hope.
Good.
So, if we punish this guy for working with a lot of people, then we are not going to move in the right direction.
Okay, but my question was going to be, because I believe it or not, I put you in the category of sane Democrat, right? But I don't know that there would be a consensus on Mike Kehoe, but how do people in the rest of your party feel?
Well, I mean, look, they hate his views on abortion. They hate what he's doing on education. There's some fundamental policy disagreements, but I think if you talk to Democrats, even the radical left ones, they would say the guy says what he means and he means what he says. And it's sad that the bar is so low that you're like, okay, I may not agree with all of his policy decisions, but he's an honest human being.
He's going to win big on election night. We're going to chat with you from Jeff City. John Lamping is going to come up in the next hour. We're going to talk a little bit more politics, but thank you so much, Shane. Have a great weekend.
You too.
We got Senator Schmitt going to check in from a Trump rally in Wisconsin, we're told, coming up after Fox News.
The things we do for love. 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 The things we do for love.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
I love that you just played some yacht rock.
Oh, a little 10cc.
Yeah.
I've been throwing a little bit more yacht rock into the bumper music, Little River Band,
made me
etc.
happy.
It's on purpose,
Yeah. There is an accident on the Illinois side that is really creating delays. If you are eastbound on 64, an accident approaching 159 has left us with a parking lot jam back to 255. So just expect a slow go through there. Now, if you're headed into Illinois, there's just a little moderate volume eastbound 64 headed for the bridge. 70 westbound looks fine out of downtown. Just some moderate volume at K and at Wentzville. 6440, that's a slow go, but it's Hampton out through McCausland. Slowing again near McKnight. Then things open up and look pretty good all the way out west. Southbound 55, some slow pockets, mainly at Rivas Barracks and to the south of there at Highway Z. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 456 at 97.1. St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might
might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver to detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or online at Amazon.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, write this number down or put it into your phone. 800-211-4413. The IRS is hiring more staff and cracking down. Call Tax Relief Helpers now to learn about our tax debt reduction programs and how to stop the collection efforts. If you're facing liens, levies, an audit, wage garnishment, or years of unpaid taxes, even if you're already in a payment plan, we can help. Through special IRS programs, you may qualify to have your tax debt settled for a fraction of what you owe. Tax Relief Helpers has helped thousands of taxpayers qualify for these generous relief programs, earning an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. No matter what amount you or your business owe to the IRS, call our tax relief hotline now for a free consultation and see what savings you may qualify for. Don't tackle the IRS on your own, and don't risk having your wages, Social Security, even your pension seized. Call now. Call 800-211-4413. That's 800-211-4413. 800-211-4413.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Pastor Wes Martin.
The church has a huge voice, and we should have a responsibility to speak into issues even when they're deemed political.
Weekdays from 5 to 9.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
On St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Well, Senator Schmitt is up with J.D. Vance, and I think President Trump in Wisconsin, he's going to check in, we hope, after Fox News.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's getjim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Early voting wrapping up. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. In 8 states, 3 of them battlegrounds today. One of them, Georgia, which has smashed early voting records. Governor Brian Kemp on why.
Well, I think just a lot of enthusiasm. We saw a lot of people vote in 2022 in my reelection campaign because we really worked that hard because we knew we had to reverse what we saw happen in 2020.
More than half the people expected to vote in Georgia have already. Nationwide, 67 million people have cast their ballots early. The political rhetoric continues. Vice President Harris slamming former President Trump for remarks about former Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
In great detail, suggested rifles should be trained on former Representative Liz Cheney. This must be disqualifying.
Former President Trump saying the vice president is misconstruing what he said about Cheney.
Even in my administration, she was pushing that we go to war with everybody. And I said, if you ever gave her a rifle and let her do the fighting, if you ever do that, she wouldn't be doing too well.
Harris campaign surrogate Mark Cuban has apologized for saying strong women don't associate with the former president, saying he didn't get the words out right. Vice President Harris making several campaign stops in Wisconsin today. Former President Trump with multiple appearances in Michigan. They will both hold rallies in Milwaukee tonight. The last jobs report before the election out today.
The Labor Department says just 12,000 jobs were added last month, the fewest in nearly 4 years. The landfalls of Hurricanes Helene and Milton and a strike of Boeing workers are blamed for much of that decline. In a statement, the president says he expects job growth to rebound next month as hurricane recovery continues. In Boeing and the Machinist Union have struck a deal that could soon end the work stoppage.
Wall Street, despite the jobs report, the Dow gained 288 points. The S&P 500 added 23. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AB.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a quiet and cool evening around town. Clear skies. Our temperatures will fall through the 50s for evening plans. Great for the Friday night football games. And kind of a cold 43 overnight. Saturday, lots of sunshine. It is a spectacular afternoon. 66. Saturday night, increasing clouds. 56. And Sunday, periods of rain. Couple of non-severe thunderstorms Sunday, 72. Do that again Monday and Tuesday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
You know, we always rave about the team at ThrottleNet here in St. Louis. They can be your next IT provider, and they're not an internet provider. I want to be clear about that. They're going to provide you with cybersecurity. Their website is fantastic, throttlenet.com. They have if you just click on resources at the top, you'll see a bunch of different blog posts, why layered cybersecurity controls are essential for threat protection, password protection tips for St. Louis business owners, phishing attacks. Scammers are really, really sophisticated, how they try to trick you into sharing personal information. We had George on just about, 6 or 7 weeks ago, because I almost fell for one that was really, really tricky. It was telling me that I, had to change something, and they sent me, I think it was, so do you remember what that was? Was it my AT&T thing?
Address.
Yeah, they wanted my address, but it was something that looked very legitimate, right?
Yeah.
And then they wanted, I filled something out. Oh, yeah, it was the package that was supposed to be delayed at the post office. And it looked official. And since I was waiting for a package at the time, I went through, I filled out my information. Then it said credit card. And it said that I owed 3 cents. I'm
Right.
like, I don't think so. So, but we had George on after that. He said, yeah, these phishing, efforts are very sophisticated. So they can help you with all these things. You should hire them because they don't lock you into a contract. They're going to protect your business. Cybersecurity is so important right now. ThrottleNet.com to get started today. That's ThrottleNet.com.
When you withdraw money from your IRA or 401k in retirement, you could trigger an avalanche of taxes. Learn how you could avoid this with your retirement professors. Sunday evening at 6 on KFTK. 97.1 FM Talk.
At Hampton Manor of Wentzville, they go the extra step to make sure their residents feel special. Mark Cox here from my friends at Hampton Manor. I recently stopped by there. Their veterans are celebrated with special recognitions, including special pastries created by their pastry chef. They have their own private chef. They'll even feed you lunch if you stop by for a visit at this great senior living community off the Lake St. Louis exit at Highway 70. Schedule your appointment today at WentzvilleAssistedLiving.com. Mark Cox here. I have put together my 2024 general election voters guide with you in mind. The direction of our nation and our state is in your hands now. Visit 971talk.com to see the Mark Cox 2024 voter guide.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Oh, what a great way to open up the 5 o'clock hour. Not only with the music of the Mavericks that Sue and I both love, but let's go up to Detroit. That's where Senator Eric Schmitt is with President Trump and J.D. Vance. And I think Trump's on stage right now. Are you backstage? Is that what I understand? Let's see if he's there. Are
Paw
you there?
Patrol.
There he is. Oh, there he is. You
Yeah.
there? How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are
good.
you?
No, I am backstage. I figured we better connect now because this motorcade is going to get moving here soon. So we're here.
Yeah, you're with me until they say, okay, you're going to Wisconsin with us, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we'll leave here and head to Wisconsin for a rally tonight. I was with them last night in Arizona with the Tucker Carlson event. I was with J.D. Vance earlier in the week, Ted Cruz earlier in the week. I'll be in Ohio on Sunday, a statewide fly around Monday. So a busy week, but getting to spend some time with the president. He's energized. These crowds are energized. It's been a lot of fun today.
All right, so what would you say? I mean, the Tucker Carlson event turned into another story here for our friends in the legacy media, just completely misrepresenting what he said, including Liz Cheney. What is wrong with Liz Cheney? Good Lord.
It's a total joke. I mean, look, they're still smarting from the fact that the president of the United States, Joe Biden, referred to half of America as garbage, and she keeps calling people fascists. They have nothing left at name calling. And so, honestly, I will tell you that these I spoke to this crowd. These are hardworking folks that come to these things. They want a better life for their kids. President Trump offers a change in direction from the disaster that's been the last 4 years. So I feel really good about where we're at right now, Mark. And Robert Kennedy Jr. is with us today. We were on the plane coming from Arizona with him, and he's fully integrated into this campaign now. It's fun.
The garbage truck moment. We have to address the garbage truck moment. I mean, just when you thought nothing could outdo the McDonald's visit, our favorite part, and I think the country's favorite part, had to be when he wore the vest on stage at Green Bay when that was happening.
It was great. It was great. I was telling him on the plane today that there are a lot of people in St. Louis and in Missouri that were wearing that, those outfits for
Halloween.
For Halloween. They were either the garbage bag or the orange or yellow vest. So it's a craze.
So are you going to Pennsylvania this weekend as well?
No. So I was in Pennsylvania with JD earlier, and then I'm doing this today, and then I'll be coming back to St. Louis tomorrow, and then flying to Ohio Sunday. So this swing today will be my last time on the presidential side. Then I'll do a Senate one on, like I said, on Sunday in Ohio, which is a must-win, and then coming back and do a statewide fly around for all the folks who are up on our, in Missouri.
So, I think there might even be a willingness on the part of some of the people on the left to admit that momentum has swung in the former president's direction. Now, this thing is not over. I'm guessing the focus is still on getting people out to vote, Eric.
That's right. And that's the message that I delivered, that President Trump's delivering is, look, our early voting numbers are up. That's good. Now, I don't think they're just cannibalizing Election Day numbers. I do think we're seeing an increase in turnout, but we have to keep the pedal to the metal here. The energy is there. The polling is there. All of those things. But the only poll that really matters is on Election Day. And so people need to vote. We're telling people, make sure when you leave here, text 4 friends, make sure you get somebody to the polls. Because here's the thing, Mark. It's a good thing that we have a larger base now. We have a broader party. It's a multi-ethnic, working-class party. But that includes more people. Like, think of the people who are listening to podcasts. They're not traditional voters. They're not voting in every election. So we have more of those kinds of voters in the fold, which is a good thing, but we got to make sure they actually show up and vote, right? And so that's what the focus is now for the next few days.
So I have not listened to JD. I listened to the entire 3-hour podcast with President Trump and Joe Rogan. I was heading back from seeing my grandson in Houston. I got to check out JD because I heard that was excellent too.
Yeah, he's great. I was with him, actually. We met up in Austin because I finished my thing with Cruz in Texas. And so right after he did the Rogan podcast, he hopped on the plane and we talked about it. He had a great time. I've listened to pieces of it, not the whole thing yet. The reason why JD was a great pick, I knew because we're close. More people are seeing that now, right? He's just a regular guy. He's a smart guy. He communicates well. And I think that more of those podcasts and reaching different people who aren't watching, the mainstream media at the 5 o'clock news is really important. And I think Trump and Vance are both doing a very good job of that, and that's the future.
Yeah, my favorite part of doing what I do is promoting other people's podcasts. There's no doubt about it. That's where my career is right now. Listen, you got to get on a bus and head over to Wisconsin. Thank you so much for jumping on here, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few days.
It will. Thanks for having me on, and make sure everybody get out and vote. Yep, see you.
Thank you very much. That's Senator Eric Schmitt, who, by the way, had his humble beginnings as the official state senator of the Mark Reardon Show. So I don't know if you know that.
I do.
We go way back to when he first ran for state senate, and he's another one, not unlike Jennings, a little different category here, where you get to a certain level with stardom, with superstardom, and it's not like Eric doesn't want to still hang with the people that he used to, but it's a different world, and he's in a different universe, flying on a plane right now with J.D. Vance and President Trump, right?
Yeah.
Now the question becomes, does he get invited? We've talked about this a little bit. Does he get invited to be part of any administration, this Trump administration? There's a chance, but the guy's got 4 more years left in the Senate. He was only elected 2 years ago, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, we have John Lamping, who was nice enough to hang around, is going to join us here to talk some politics in a moment. But also I want to mention Erin Moriarty. Erin is the host of 48 Hours on CBS. They came in multiple times over the summer to interview a bunch of people connected with my friend Chris Smith. Chris was shot in the head. The woman that he was with, Leslie Reeves, killed in Farmersville, Illinois, 3 years ago this Thanksgiving. It was the night before Thanksgiving. The story is really amazing. Chris survived, and his recovery story is part of what 48 Hours is going to focus in on. And Erin will give us a preview coming up here in just a little bit. And that episode will air. It's called Fatal First Date. It's going to air tomorrow night on 48 Hours, and that airs on KMOV at 9 p.m. Central Time tomorrow night. Former Senator John Lamping, who was with us on the Roundtable, been nice enough to kind of hang out here and talk some politics. How are you again, John?
I'm doing great. I'm still not quite sure if I've gotten over that Roundtable. It was kind of feisty today.
Well, thanks to you, I think, and they're going to be feisty. And let's talk a little bit about this election, but first, let's talk about Tuesday night, because we've done the last 2 presidential races, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I think the first time I was in the studio with you on any election night was 2014, because I ran in 2010. And I was out of office. I wasn't running again. So 14 we started. I think it came Wex days, and it's really every time since then.
I can't believe. So it's 2010 when you ran, and that's when I got to know you.
Yeah.
Which was that was a great time. Well, look, you've been a great contributor and a great friend. John and I go to a lot of concerts together. He's my concert date. We went to ELO recently, which was fantastic. Every once in a while, we'll see some bands at the Pageant or the Old Rock House. So that's been a fun part of our relationship. But really, it's kind of about politics. Now, let me go back to 2016, because since John and I know each other, we can kind of debate back and forth, and we don't always agree, but we have, I think, a mutual respect. So you kept telling me in 2016, Trump's going to win, and I said, and it was based on the electoral path, okay? I thought, I don't see the path where Trump can get enough electoral votes to win the election. Of course, then we're all in the studio. We're there with Mike Kelly and John Hancock on.
That was a great night.
Oh, my God. And I'm sitting there at my mic spot on the KMOX side of the building, in the studio, and I'm watching that New York Times thing, John. Remember that little needle thing?
Yeah, sure.
And, 85% chance that Hillary's going to win. 80% chance, 75%. I can still see Hancock and Kelly's eyes. If we're being honest, all of our eyes were like, is this really happening?
Yeah, I remember Kelly dropped his head, and I said, well, what's going on? And he dropped his head because he got the turnout numbers in the city of St. Louis, and they were so far down that it was just an indication that something was off on his party. And obviously a great night. And that was interesting, too, because that was essentially, it was called pretty early.
But what were you seeing? What were the undercurrents that you were seeing? Was it mainly because I had, look, we're spending some time this hour talking about my friend Chris Smith and the way that I developed the relationship with Chris. That story will be on 48 Hours tomorrow night. As you know, Johnny would call my show, and, I made the ill-fated wager with him. But he kept saying, Mark, you're not seeing what I'm seeing in rural parts of Illinois with working class people. I had, Kelly, to his credit, he saw it with some union members, right?
Yeah.
But what were you seeing?
Well, first of all, through alternative media, I was what we now know as a Trump rally. That's what's happening all across the country and all the key states. It was happening for weeks and weeks and weeks leading up to the election. It was not being covered by anybody. Nobody was covering the Trump elections. And I was, you're hearing people are parking their car, they're walking a mile to get there, because now it's very well organized and they get
buses
covered.
And all this
all that
stuff,
kind of
right?
stuff. But it was like grassroots, pure grassroots. So that was the big part of it. I knew that blue collar people were turning that way. I was in a grocery store maybe a week before the election, and 2 guys were standing in line next to me, and these people these guys looked like they were not sophisticated political analysts, and they were talking about the election. They were talking about Trump. They were talking about, one guy said, I'm voting for the first time. And that's when I knew that there was something there. And secondly, Hillary was a much better candidate than Kamala is now. But Hillary was so disliked that
the likability factor was huge. Look, the one story I always kind of share too from 2016. This was I think it was the end of February. It was before Super Tuesday. I'm in line, probably going to Las Vegas, John, because that's where I go, as you know. And I'm in the Southwest queue, and we're all lined up. I think I was in the A boarding group, right? We're all waiting to get on the plane, and there was a TV, and the TV was showing Marco Rubio, little Marco at the time, he was known for. And who else? Who the hell was still in that race before Super Tuesday? Ted Cruz, right?
Jeb Bush.
Right. So they're on the screen, right? Everyone, what do you people do when you're in the line, a queue? You're looking at your phone, right? You're kind of looking around. You're waiting to board. Trump comes on the TV. Every head in that line, John, Maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but I'm telling you, it was noticeable. People's heads went up. Now, a lot of that it still happens. People that don't like him, they can't help but watch him because they're kind of obsessed with him. But the reason I bring all this up, because Selena Zito, who was on the show even this week, and she's great. She wrote a book about 2016 called The Great Revolt. She saw the undercurrents, too.
Yes, she's great.
She said, and I think you might agree, that this feels a lot like 2016. Now, what I would say is this. I didn't vote for, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. Sure. I just voted for a friend of mine in Wisconsin. I wrote his name in. I did vote for him in 2020. But I feel, this is anecdotal, I know people hate him, John. I know women hate him. But there's more people maybe that didn't support him the last 2 times that I think will enthusiastically this time.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, when do you get a chance to see what 4 years Trump looks like, and and then 4 years of what the opponent looks like? And it's an unmitigated disaster what is the last 3.5, 4 years, and people are looking for change. Heck, even Kamala's campaigning for change.
That's true.
Awesome.
That is true.
But here we are the Friday before, and as a supporter of Trump and somebody who's rooting him on, he's run a phenomenal campaign. He's really done an amazing job. He himself, I mean, there's gaffes, there's things that he says and how he says them. But if you had told me that Trump would behave the way he behaved the last 4 months leading up to this thing, I would be thrilled. And then secondly, there's this, I think what people are completely underestimating, and we talked about this before, you and I privately, where like Trump's kind of like Captain America, but then there's these 4 people around him that are the Avengers, and that's JD, and that's RFK, and Tulsi, and that's Elon. And those are his surrogates. And individually, those guys are packing halls. When they go out, it doesn't have to be Trump. JD can pack a hall. Elon can pack a hall. And I think when all is said and done and Trump's successful, I think a lot will be written about who those 4 people are and what they meant to the success of the campaign.
So let me just, and I'm feeling pretty good about the way things are trending, but let me throw a little cold water, just get your reaction. I'm looking at these Senate races right now, too. And I'm looking at all the polling, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. The Democrats all lead in the averages. There's some late polling that's showing good things in the swing states. But for the most part, if you look at the patterns, I'm seeing a lot of blue in those states. The Democrats lead, even in Nevada and Arizona. The only momentum is really favoring a Republican in Pennsylvania, which might be the only state that matters. But just your reaction to that, because you can argue that if Trump wins, Nevada in particular, maybe even Wisconsin, he's going to drag Eric Hovde in Wisconsin across the line with him. Now, sometimes we split these votes, too. So what are your thoughts there on the Senate makeup and what might happen related to that with the presidential race?
Well, it's such a favorable map for the Republicans this time around that, 51 Republicans will be a bad night for the Republicans. 52 seems very doable. I mean, you're forgetting about, Sherrod Brown in Ohio, which is a red state, and he's the incumbent. What you're speaking of in all these races, that all the Democrats are incumbents, and it's really hard to beat an incumbent. So it looks...
Except for John Tester, apparently, because that's the one in Montana that's not close.
Yeah, he's done, and the same thing in West Virginia, we're picking up.
Yeah, that's a Republican pickup.
Yeah, so that's 2. That's +2. So like I said, 51's a bad night. I think 52, and
if you could pick off even one of those other ones, right? And if you get 2 and the White House...
Well, it's funny. There's not going to be a lot of drama in the Senate. Like I said, I think it's minimum 51's a bad night. It could be 4 or 5. Some of these races are really neck and neck, and especially in the swing states. And if it's a bigger night than we think, the House is where it's interesting. If Trump does not get the House, then there's this long, horrible, twisted tale about whether or not the Democratic House actually accepts election results. We won't go there, but they might.
Right, that's true.
We won't go there today. And then as far as legislatively, what can you get done the first 2 years if you have split government, which you will have split government? And then in the midterms, it swings back over to the Democrats. They have a very good midterm map as far as picking up seats. So it's important that we get 53 or more, if we could, in the Senate, and somehow win the House. The House is going to be, if we have a majority, it'll be about the same size it is now, maybe even narrower.
I have a friend of mine that grew up with the guy in suburban Chicago, and we still keep in touch. We're still friends, and he's always kind of my bellwether guy, John, because
I know this guy.
He's literally voted for Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Obama. He likes the winners, and I checked in with him yesterday. Now, he's in Illinois, so it really doesn't matter. It's moot. But he said, Tuesday I'll vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not impressed with her or her running mate. I don't know how you could be, but there's no way I can vote for Donald Trump. January 6th is the main reason. Other reason, his campaign didn't present anything that makes me see him as a better choice. I would disagree with that one. But I brought it up because of January 6th. Despite the enthusiasm that we have and a lot of Trump supporters have right now. And I do think that it's not manipulated. It's real going into Election Day. The fact of the matter is there's still a lot of people that hate this guy. This may come down to women versus men, John, because we see the numbers. I think there's a lot of folks around here that are having votes cancel out. Men are voting one way. Women are voting the other way.
Well, I think that's all very real. Women are going to vote 54, 55%, especially white women are going to vote for him in an overwhelming way. Unmarried women, married women vote for Trump. But that's just, I mean, that's the way we are. That's the way the electorate is. I mean, there's everyone that's not voting for Trump has a reason. A lot of them it's January 6th. A lot of them it's abortion. A lot of them it's just character. A lot of them, some of them it's democracy.
I heard one girl on Fox this morning, you know, they were doing like a little cafe. They'd been going out and interviewing people. And the one girl was definitively saying that, no, I can't vote for Trump because he's going to take away my birth control. Because this Project 2025 crap that's out there, you know, that was their boogeyman. They kept lying about all these things.
Well, I mean, to women, abortion is birth control, Mark, and they think that somehow, some way, he's gonna pass a national abortion ban.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, that's where the culture is where it is, and all this, it's so dishonest. Can you imagine if the Amendment 3 was simply, does a woman have the right to kill her baby in the womb? If that was the wording, because that's what it is, that's what abortion is. That side can't use that language. That side has to say it's about choice. It's about women's health, reproductive choices. And they don't want to say it's birth control, but the people who fall back on abortion use it as birth control, and that's what it is. And so, you know, like I said, everybody that's not voting for Trump, they've got reasons why, and that's a big one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Around the country.
Former Senator John Lamping. Okay, we talked about this on the roundtable. Just quickly on the Missouri stuff right now. Predictions on Amendment 2, Amendment 3. What are your thoughts?
I think 2 passes, 3. I think 3 passes narrowly. Sadly, I'm praying for a miracle. I think 7 passes. That's no ranked choice voting. All the statewides will all be Republicans.
Is it true that St. Louis is not included in the no ranked choice voting? That I thought I saw some reference to that, which would suck. The city of St. Louis.
Yeah, not that I'm aware. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that one's going to pass. Then the Lake of the Ozarks gambling boat's probably going to pass as well.
Yeah, that'll probably pass. Keogh's out, working it pretty hard, and there's not a reason not to vote for it.
It's been a weird cycle for me in Missouri because usually we have, I was telling Becky this, John, you might remember this. No, this was before you knew me. In 2008, 3 weeks before the election, John McCain called me live on the air when I was on KMOX. The reason that happened, not because of me, it's because Missouri was a purple state at that time. And we kind of mattered in the whole, scheme of, the battleground states. We were a battleground state.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens if Amendment 3 does pass and it stays that way for a long enough period of time. You could have a lot of changes occur within the Republican Party. Suddenly, like we already have the guy who's going to be the speaker starting in January has already come out and said, look, if Amendment 3 passes, we have to respect the will of the people, which is pretty far from where people like Mary Elizabeth Coleman are in the Senate, who are going to do everything they can to get that back on the ballot and to get abortion out of Missouri again as soon as she can. So when things like that, some really linchpin foundational things in our ideology are pushed away and changed, then who knows where the change is going to end up.
John Lamping, I can't wait for Tuesday night. We're almost here, although, again, I think you even texted me something to this effect. We may have to do a couple of weeks on the air to get a final tally.
I heard a live interview after that. I texted that to you that from the Secretary of State of Atlanta said they will have the vote by 10 or 11 o'clock on
well, let's hope that's the case.
Yeah.
We'll see you Tuesday night. Thank you.
Take care.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
We've got a stall westbound 6440 past McKnight, and they've got the right lane blocked while they deal with this. Traffic stacks up back to near Big Bend, and 64 also a little bit slow. Hampton on out through McCausland. Now, westbound 70 looks great out of downtown. So volume in Wentzville. Southbound 55 slowing at Rivas Barracks, but it looks fine to the south of there. 44, a little bit of moderate volume just past Webster, and a little bit of moderate volume past 141. But for the most part, we're great. Now, there has been a real jam on the Illinois side tonight. There was an accident eastbound 64 approaching 159, and we had a jam that went back to 255. Now we've got an accident reported near 157. It's just taking a while for all of that to unwind. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas, 527 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Sue, as you know, the story of Chris Smith being shot in the head, left for dead in Farmersville, Illinois on the night before Thanksgiving 3 years ago. That story is going to be called Fatal First Date. Unfortunately, the woman he was with, Leslie Reeves, died in that particular incident. But that whole story is going to be told on an episode called Fatal First Date on 48 Hours tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And Erin Moriarty, who is the host, is going to join us next with a preview.
Republican Adam Schnelting is a husband, father, and a soldier. As an Army combat engineer, Schnelting is trained to fight for us. He's trained to solve problems. As state representative, Adam fought to keep men out of our daughters' bathrooms and sports. He voted to cut our taxes and fully fund our schools. He led the charge in Missouri to secure our border and address the fentanyl crisis. He even earned the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Adam Schnelting for State Senate.
I'm Adam Schnelting, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Schnelting for Missouri, Mike Summer, Treasurer.
I've been hearing so long about government mandates all these years. It's coming true unless something changes this year yet. Then maybe it could be stopped. If not, homeowners, if you need an air conditioner, if your air conditioner is old now, get the equipment that you can still get before they say you can't have it. Not to scare you, they scared you. I'm just saying the equipment we have right now, unbelievably better than what you have because your equipment's 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 years old. So if you're looking and if your system's that old or if people are saying it's old and you new, I'm not going to waste your time. But if you call me, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois, the easiest of numbers. All right. So it's not the easiest. I have forgotten the number, even as many times as I put it up. But 314-293-2600 or go to the internet, BartInman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how. Learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Del's team live in St. Louis. 2 days only at the Hilton Frontenac, Saturday and Sunday, November 9th and 10th. Register now at DelHelpMeNow.com. That's DelHelpMeNow.com. Enter promo code 2024 for a special discount offer. DelHelpMeNow.com. Code 2024.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
5:31. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
It's the most critical election of our time. The stakes have never been higher.
So grab your popcorn and MAGA hats and let's party.
Join the Annie Fry Show for an online watch party. Details at 971talk.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show.
Well, many of you know the story of Chris Smith, and let me kind of just shorten it here. This guy used to call my radio show when I was on KMOX, and we called him Chris in the Country, and he would just bug the living crap out of me. He'd call, and then he'd tell me Trump's going to win, Trump's going to win. A month before the election, I said, Trump's not going to win. This is in 2016, obviously. Come on, Chris, Trump's not going to win. I said, I can I'm so smart. I'm a talk show host. I'm smarter than everyone, right? If Trump wins, you can shave my head. Well, Trump he won. And Chris called me the next day. He was a regular call on the show, and he said, dude, you don't have to shave your head. And I said, how about we go to a Cardinals game? And people still hate me to this day for that. And they should. You should, ladies and gentlemen. But Chris and I became friends. We really did. We started hanging out. I got to know him pretty well. He was going on some tough times 3 years ago, right before Thanksgiving. He had gone through a divorce, and he wasn't in the best place. But then something even worse happened. He went on a date with this woman named Leslie Reeves, and they were both shot in Chris's home on the night before Thanksgiving 3 years ago. And now, 48 Hours is doing a story about all this. It'll air tomorrow night.
So you are the lead crime scene investigator?
Yes.
Were you really prepared for what you faced when you walked into that house?
I was not.
Why would somebody do this to him? Why would they try to hurt my baby? That's all I kept thinking. He's my baby. Someone hurt him.
Going on a first date and they both end up getting shot is insane.
Well, many of you in my audience are familiar with this story, and we had Chris Schmitt on yesterday to share some things about what's going to happen on 48 Hours tomorrow night. And Erin Moriarty, who is doing the story for 48 Hours, is with us this afternoon to tell us all about the episode, Fatal First Date. Erin, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm glad we're finally getting this report on the air because we've worked on it for so long, argued about it for so long. It's time finally.
Well, and I know Chris is certainly ready. And, you know, one of the goals that he had, and I don't really think I helped here with getting this on your radar, but I was trying to get it on people's radar because he always felt like this was such a great story. Not only what happened, obviously, almost 3 years ago, but as you know, his recovery and his, you know, unwillingness to let his life be over because he's just trying to get it back to the way it used to be.
Well, and we made sure, and he was actually concerned. There's one time when I'm interviewing him that he turns to the camera and he goes, if there are any doctors out there who have any kind of treatment, I will be your guinea pig.
Right.
Well, that's in our hour. So I'm hoping that when this airs, he might get a response, which would be great, because I think it's very rare for us at 48 Hours. We cover, sadly, murders, criminal trials, and it's very rare to have such an uplifting part of a story that is really so tragic. But on one hand, it's amazing to see how well he did, but the other point that we really make is how much he lost.
Yes.
That one person's act hurt so many people and really did take away the life that Chris had really valued. And that's part of this report as well.
You know, and he admitted to me, he had sent me the segment from this morning on CBS This Morning, and I watched it, and we were sharing some text messages. As I indicated, he was on the air with me yesterday to promote the segment. But he admitted, Erin, and, you know, maybe some of us should have thought about this, that this is going to be much more difficult than he anticipated to watch all this tomorrow night.
Well, we thought it might be. We had warned him, and he told Paul LaRosa, my producer, that while he was watching, he realized he probably shouldn't be. And I don't want him to watch the show tomorrow night. I'd like to have him hear from other people or maybe hear parts. We can send him parts of the show. We can send him the parts where he's recovering and all the work he is doing to get back the old Chris Schmitt. I'm not sure he wants
He won't do that. I promise you. I tried to get him, Erin. I actually said that. I said, look, maybe this is an indication that you should kind of dial back on this because they have a bit of a watch party. But he won't do that. He wants to be with family and friends. And Chris, if there's nothing else that you will come away with tomorrow night, and I think you know this, Erin, when he gets his mind set on something, he won't let it go.
I know, but you realize, and I think you know this, Mark. I mean, we definitely told Chris. We interviewed Bobby Todd.
Yeah.
Now, anyone who watches this show is going to know the jury got it right. There is no question that this man ruined so many people's lives. But there are people who feel that you should never hear from a convicted killer. I felt it really adds insight, and you understand who this man was. And in a way, it really shows you this man was determined to hurt Leslie and anyone around Leslie. No question.
So yesterday I told Chris this. As much, Erin, as I know this story, and as much as I remember 3 years ago when his mom messaged me on Facebook Messenger and say, "Hey, is this Mark the radio guy? Chris Smith was shot in the head." I'm like, "Wait a second, what?" And that just welcomed me into the saga, if you will, because Chris and I were friends. But I didn't know, for example, let me play a little clip here about Reardon, who went to the house.
I saw the back door was broken, and then I saw Chris laying there. And then I ran back to my car and called 911.
Nobody's answering the door, and the back window's shattered, and there's a body, and there's a foot I saw on the floor. I'm only 16. I can't deal with this.
I was in shock, I think.
Sheriff's Office, Jeff.
Jeff, give me some help. I got one alive and one dead.
I just remember them bringing Chris out on the stretcher to the ambulance. I remember there being a sheet over him, so it made me panic a little bit.
Yeah, Erin, even playing that clip, that gives me some chills, and I really did not know, how she discovered Chris and that she was 16 years old. That poor girl, she'll remember that forever.
Absolutely. I was also, I don't know if everyone knows that Nanette, Leslie's friend, I've always been so impressed with her. She knew her friend was going to go out on a date with a guy named Chris Smith. And then when she didn't hear from her, she drove there. And she was the one who first gave the name Bobby Tarr to investigators.
Right.
They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have zeroed in on him so quickly. There were a lot of people around Leslie and Chris who are angels, who really made a difference in this. And then, of course, when I first heard that they arrested Bobby Tarr within 24 hours, I thought, wow, that was really quick. Why the rush? Why not wait for evidence? But as the prosecutor said to me, we didn't have a weapon then. And we knew there was an armed killer out there. He could have come back and killed Chris. And so you really see why so much was done in this case. It had to have been done that way. Because the other aspect of this is really weird, and I've covered it, is that this guy puts a hit out or tries to put a hit out on Chris and the detective. I'm guessing that makes the cut for the story? Well, yeah, because his explanation is so crazy. Does he really believe anyone's going to believe it? He actually paid this inmate, a cellie, who he had never known before, $10,000. And he tells me, I paid it because I wanted to help him make bail. Come on. Does he really think anyone's going to believe that?
I guess. Erin Moriarty from 48 Hours is here. The episode tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central. It's called Fatal First Date. Erin, explain a little bit, and you guys were nice enough to interview me, and I think I make a small appearance. But one of the things that is a challenge for 48 Hours, and you guys execute this so exceptionally, and people love the true crime, is there's a challenge in telling this story without giving too much up to begin with, right?
Well, yes, but I don't know if we want to tell the story really the way investigators saw it, friends saw it. So you have a better understanding of how the investigation went. I don't know if we're really trying to keep information away, but we do care about our storytelling.
Yeah, of course.
And you do want to pull people in and have them really understand what happened. And you do make a real appearance in our show. And I felt it was important because you give a sense of who Chris was before. I mean, of course, we hear from his mother and his sister, but I think you capture who Chris was with that amazing personality and sense of humor, unlike anyone else. I still don't know quite how he grew, and probably will still try to grow banana trees in Illinois, but that would be a mystery.
And the giant pumpkins. Oh, man. I used to call him Pumpkin Boy. That was one of the nicknames I had for him because of his giant pumpkins. The other thing that I kind of stuck out from this morning is, and I've shared this with the audience. Chris has told this, Erin, and you told the folks on the set, Tony and everyone this morning. He doesn't remember even meeting Leslie Reeves. He doesn't remember any of this.
Believe that. I know. And he did have, before any of this happened, he was texting with her. He was emailing. They spent an evening together that, by all accounts of people who saw them in the bar, they were having a great time. They were about to have pizza. We know that because of what was left in the
burned pizza, right?
I know, isn't that kind of one of those details that just kind of hits you in the gut?
And I didn't know that one either. And that was interesting when I watched the preview.
Yeah, it's just such a normal kind of activity. They were about to have pizza. They had a great night. The fact he doesn't remember any of that, I don't know whether that is, you always hear that your brain protects you from a terrible event. We know it was. We don't know exactly what happened because Bobby Tarr does not tell the truth. And sadly, Chris doesn't remember, and Leslie's not here to tell us.
I think it might be good, though, to your point, that he doesn't remember, right?
Because it had to be terrifying.
Right.
We know there was enough time that Leslie was trying to move a big refrigerator to the door. There had to be time that they knew what was going on and they couldn't prevent it. And Leslie, it's really sad because the prosecutor believes that not only did Bobby Tarr shoot her, but she was on her knees when he shot her.
Oh,
Who does something like that? And that's a detail that I think will haunt me forever because what an act of cruelty. And can I just make a point? Because I think it's important for anybody who's angry at a ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. This man had a chance to change his mind. The evidence shows that he went and saw where she was at Christmas house. Then he went back home. He had time to change his mind. He could have changed his mind. He didn't. He should have.
And all the lives that has affected. And you'll see the story, Fatal First Date, on 48 Hours. It airs, of course, on KMOV here locally at 9 o'clock tomorrow. And does this stream then, Erin, on Paramount Plus? Is that accurate?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Yes, it does.
Excellent. I subscribe to every damn streaming service out there, but that's good to know. Hey, thank you, Erin, so much for jumping on here with us this evening on 97.1 FM Talk. I really appreciate it.
And thanks for talking to us about Chris. And you will see yourself tomorrow night. And I hope all your listeners watch as well.
Can't wait. Thank you, Erin.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
Accident westbound 44 past Elm. And once you get past that, things open up and look fine. But westbound 6440, we've got an accident too. And this one is just past McKnight, and it's been blocking the right lane for a while. Slow-moving traffic behind that. Now, westbound 70 looks fine out of downtown. Really no delays. A little bit slow at Wentzville. On the Illinois side, it has been a rough night on 64. They cleared the accident near 159. Then we had another accident near 157. Looks like that's been moved off to the shoulder as well. Things are thinning out a bit through there, but it's still a little bit of a slow go. If you are headed into Illinois, though, on any of the bridges downtown, it looks great. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas. 544 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
All right, I have to do a little bit of manual labor this weekend. I don't like that. Sue, you know that. I don't like manual labor.
No, you do not.
But I took these rooms apart and ripped the carpeting out 2 weekends ago, and then Michael's Flooring Outlet, team from Michael's, came in last Friday when I was in Houston. They put beautiful hard flooring into my daughter's room and the bedroom across the hall from hers, the guest bedroom, and I'm going to reassemble those rooms this weekend. Damn, Michaels didn't do that for me, Sue.
Go figure.
Unfortunately, but they did such a great job. And if you need new flooring, you need hard flooring or soft flooring, they got you covered. The Mohawk products are absolutely great. But go to the website, igotfloor.com. Everything that you need is up there. If you need some samples sent to you, you can do that on the website. If you need some inspiration, you can upload a picture of your room and see what it looks like with some of the flooring options. I'm just going to be honest with you. Mike and the team knocked this out of the park on all levels. And look, we did it on a budget, okay? And you can do that. It looks, and I think I admitted this 2 days ago, I was worried because we didn't go for the highest price point. I'm like, man, I just don't want it to look cheap, right? It looks great. I was blown away. It looked better in person because I had seen some pictures when I was in Houston last weekend. They're going to take great care of you. This is the service that you get with Michael's here with 3 great locations in Old Town St. Peter's, in Darden Prairie, and also in West County on Olive. That website, igotfloor.com. Audio cut of the day is coming up next.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Well, there's a very good chance as you've driven down your street, you have admired houses in your neighborhood that have been covered in Rhino Shield, and you don't even know it. Except if you pay close attention, you'll notice that They're not being repainted every couple of years. What I mean is same bright, vivid colors that you would choose with regular paint, except that Rhino Shield lasts, and you're going to get a 25-year warranty with it. I've got it on my house, and I mean it. It looks like it did the day they put it on. It lasts and lasts. It's lab tested to last that long against chipping or peeling or cracking. And they put this on businesses as well. Condo units from Springfield, Illinois, all the way down to the Lake of the Ozarks. You can find it. And my friend Darren will be happy to come over and give you a free evaluation of your home. All you have to do is call him. Tell him you heard Mark Cox talking about it. 877-25-RHINO or online at 877-25rhino.com.
Missouri's Amendment 3 is cleverly worded to convince you that it only allows abortions until fetal viability. But it has loopholes that allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Abortion proponents used to say safe, legal, and rare. But now they want abortion as common as the morning after pill. Plus, minor-age children will have access to sex change surgeries without parental consent. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John B. Royal Treasurer.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Monday, the future is on the line in Tuesday's election. Are Republicans doing enough to guard the vote? We'll talk to Hans von Spakovsky from Heritage at 6:20.
Weekdays from 5 to 9.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
On St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Saying what you're thinking. Mark Reardon.
Ain't got no regrets. I ain't losing track of which way I'm going. I ain't gonna double back.
I always have to let Lou sing a little on this one, right?
Yeah.
Even though you said he didn't sound very good at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but
Well, no.
he sounds great on this song for sure. All right, well, we have one more segment to go. Sue, do you have big weekend plans or not?
Let me think about that. I must not be, since I can't think of
I'll
anything.
take that as a no.
Yeah.
Look, I really do have to do the work around my house tomorrow, so I'll be doing that and watching a little football and listening to music and gearing up for this election because I said this yesterday, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store or it's like Christmas. No matter what happens next week, I get revved up about this. I can't wait for election night. It's going to be a blast either way.
Hey, I did an interview for History of the Lou with Sue that will air this weekend. 1 o'clock on KMOX tomorrow, and then 6 a.m., I think, 97.1 on Sunday. Anyway, it's kind of a preview of Veterans Day. So we talk about the Ghost Army exhibit at the Soldiers Memorial,
nice.
and it is fascinating. So, yeah.
And piggybacking off of that, Sue, I actually traded out a day. We all are supposed to have off for a company holiday on Veterans Day. I agreed to work on Veterans Day with Ethan because I was off on Monday for my trip to Houston.
It's a trade.
But I want to feature something on that Monday. You and I have talked about this on that exhibit.
And we'll have Mark come over. I think you'll love it.
And Mayor Mike, by the way, in Grafton, we're going to
Yep.
get him. So we're going to do some fun stuff on that day for sure. Let's do this before we get out of here.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Well, I would encourage you to go back and listen to the Reardon Roundtable. We talked about this quite a bit, but here is the latest media malfeasance. This is what President Trump said with Tucker Carlson last night. Nothing of the sorts that was being represented on CNN and elsewhere.
I think he's right with so much of the things he's talking about.
Hang on, that was the RFK Jr. See, I screwed this up. I had this plan, but I did not have the right cut.
Take two.
So, yeah, I know. Take two is right.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person.
She is a stupid person for no other reason that she made this into something and misrepresented what he said, because he was very clearly depicting Liz Cheney as deployed to war because she likes sending people into war with her own weapon. And that's the scenario that he was painting. Of course, this is what CNN said about all this stuff.
I don't think you even need to call it fired upon. He's saying quite explicitly and unambiguously that Liz Cheney should be shot, should be executed by firing squad.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
It's just so dumb. They lie. This is the one reason, well, there's many reasons to save the country, that I so hope that this is a big victory. Not just a victory, but a big victory for President Trump next week. Now, along the media malfeasance line, they were doing this video thing with the Washington Post, Jonathan Capehart, Ruth Marcus, and Hugh Hewitt, conservative talk show host. And they're making the case, Jonathan Capehart and Ruth Marcus, that in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where there's been an election challenge on the part of the Trump campaign, by the way, that was successful, that he's just, trying to stir up controversy. So they're painting a conspiracy theory about Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and the vote. And Hugh Hewitt says this.
Well, I've just got to say, we're news people, even though we're at the opinion section. It's got to be reported. Bucks County was reversed by the court and instructed to open up extra days because they violated the law and told people to go home. So that lawsuit was brought by the Republican National Committee, and it was successful. The Supreme Court ruled that Glenn Youngkin was successful. We are news people, even though we have opinions, and we have to report the whole story if we bring up part of the story. So yes, he's upset about Bucks County, but he was right, and he won in court. That's the story.
That is the story. So Jonathan Capehart, there's unusual silence here. They don't know how to respond, and then this happens after a little silence with Capehart on the video stream.
I'll let you keep going, Jonathan.
No, I don't appreciate being lectured about reporting when many times you come here saying lots of things that aren't.
I won't come back, Jonathan. I'm done. I'm done. This is the most unfair election ad I have ever been a part of. You guys are working. That's fine. I'm done.
He walked off. He said that was it.
So, Ruth,
he tries to go on with the conversation, and then Ruth Marcus's feed cuts off. But Hugh Hewitt also did a weekly column for the Washington Post. You know what's interesting about his message there to Washington Post people who apparently did not read Jeff Bezos' op-ed, because what he wrote in the op-ed is exactly what they were doing there. Exactly. And Hugh Hewitt finally said, I've had enough. We're not doing this anymore. And good for him for doing that. So he quit his column at the Washington Post as well. That was an interesting moment. Wow. That's why it's Audio Cut of the Day. Sue, have a great weekend.
You too.
On Monday, we'll be down to just 24 hours before the election. I can't wait. Have a great weekend.
A clear view of the roads from the Window World Traffic Center.
If you are headed into Illinois, we look great right now on the bridges downtown. Traffic thinning out nicely. Westbound 70 looks great out of downtown out through Wentzville. 64, a little bit slow there at McKnight. We've had the right lane blocked by an accident just past McKnight. And westbound 44 was slowing near Elm. That's where we had another accident just west of Elm. Other than that, though, we're good. Just moderate volume along the construction zone on 55, at least the one that's past Rivas Barracks. And we are quiet through North County. It looks pretty good on the roads right now. From the Window World Traffic Center, I'm Sue Thomas. It's 5:55 at 97.1, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. We are thrilled to announce that the Mid-America Carpenters Union is offering up to $10,000 cash to close to all McKelvey homebuyers. Use these dollars for closing costs, upgrades, or buy down your interest rate. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to own a beautifully crafted home with McKelvey legendary quality. Act fast. This offer is first come, first serve. Visit McKelveyhomes.com today.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Pastor Wes Martin.
The
church has a huge voice, and we should have a responsibility to speak into issues even when they're deemed political.
Weekdays from 5 to 9
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. We've negotiated over $5 billion in settlements. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. We've won millions for victims of truck accidents, drunk driving crashes, and workers' compensation. Call Onder Law, 314 or 618-9 million. That's 314 or 618-9, all zeros.
Democracy 2024 Election Night.
We're bringing you the latest results, real-time analysis, and thoughtful commentary. It's Mark Reardon. Join me and our panel of experts on Tuesday night, November 5th for 97.1 FM Talk's Election Night coverage.
Democracy 2024.
We'll break down the races and issues that matter the most to you. You'll get updates, reactions, and insight you can't find anywhere else.
Democracy 2024 Election Night. Right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Attention Missouri Republicans. Donald Trump Jr. has endorsed Amendment 2.